Mostly blue skies here. The track temp is 125. Now, yesterday at the start of practice, it was 115, and by the end of qualifying, under cloudy conditions, it was down to 99 degrees. So the hottest it's been here in several years for the spring race.
And there you see that traction compound on the inside of the racetrack where the inside rows that left side tires are in. Very important. They're going to be on that. It's ultra sticky, Kevin.
Yeah, and you see your leader right there, Ryan Blaney, chose the outside lane. Preferred lane on the restarts. Here we go.
And you see why he chose it.
Ross Chastain way up top on the very first lap. It's going to get him at least to second.
That was a great move by Chastain.
Oh, see Kyle Larson looked like he bounced off the wall right there down the front straightaway. If he didn't, it was close.
Larson battling Riley Herbst, who has his best ever Cup start. He was only the third driver to go out to qualify. We thought early drivers to go would be at a disadvantage, but that's when the track was warmest, and he was rewarded with a great lap.
Okay, this is where you see him now that they've locked on. You're looking at Bell right there, get in line there, and he followed suit. You get stuck out. See Ty Gibbs on the outside? You have to be careful. He slid up, but he didn't want to be there. You can lose a lot of spots quick.
Gibbs started fifth. He's fallen out of the top 10 in that quickly. 4 laps.
Cars loose.
Yeah, and we've seen so many changes. Well, we expect a lot of changes to these cars as these guys went from practice. There was a lot of cars that were all over the place. So, you know, a lot of times you fire off right here and the car doesn't handle very well. And he's Ty Gibbs in a spot right here he doesn't want to be in that second lane. So,
one and Dyson behind.
Not a fun situation to start the race here for the 54.
Suarez to the inside, and Gibbs forces his way in line in front of Zane Smith, with Noah Gragson trying to give him a bumper tap. Gragson couldn't get down. Smith may get that spot. That's the first side-by-side battle.
And he just couldn't waste any more time. He had to force the issue to get down. It's one thing to play nice, but sometimes you just got to put an end to it and take a chance.
No rubber up in that second groove, not yet, but that will all change as this race unfolds.
And it's not going to take long for that top to rubber in. Once this traction compound starts to, you know, wear off a little bit and the speeds come down, you'll see guys jump up the racetrack. We've had the O'Reilly race yesterday where the cars moved up the racetrack, but it's going to take some time to get this bottom lane worn down.
Michael McDowell, 23rd, he drops in line in front of Ricky Stenhouse. And there's Cole Custer trying to come from the back. From 30th spot, he's picked up 1 there against Kyle Busch.
Yeah, and right now, these guys at the back of the pack, they want to do everything they can to move forward, but it's really hard to move forward when you have that traction compound on the bottom of the racetrack because everybody's so hooked up, and the only way to really move them out of the way is to knock them out of the way.
Remember, William Byron had to go to the rear because they changed the steering rack this morning. He has made almost no forward progress. It is so difficult to pass here in the early going when it's a one-groove racetrack.
Well, and the other thing is everybody's tires are new, and so, you know, we got to get some wear on the tires to start to showcase some of the handling differences between the cars. So it's going to take a little bit. It's going to take 25, 30 laps for it to really show up.
Yeah, and it's showing up fast for these leaders. That Ryan Blaney's putting really fast laps down and catching the tail end of the pack quick.
Well, he is literally a straightaway behind the last place car. As we're on board with William Byron, who's running in 34th spot, he's going to have to get going because he's going to be the guy that sees that leader come up pretty quick with where he started. But usually what happens in that situation, those guys start to get desperate at the back of the pack, and they aren't going to give up the bottom. So Blaney's going to have to make a decision to either use the front bumper or go somewhere else.
So as everybody settles in with the traction compound down in the lowest 4 feet of the racetrack, that's where everybody's running. And this track just becomes the world's fastest conveyor belt.
But this is exactly by design. And watch me, folks, and trust me. As soon as Ryan Blaney catches that pack, you're forced to go somewhere else. And that's where it gets tricky. He has to stay going because that second place car will catch him in a hurry.
And really, it's a game of, as we're on board with Chase Briscoe right here, our Toyota Racing Gyro Cam, really gives you a great sense of what the drivers are going through as you go down into the banking. The driver loads up in the seat right there with those 3Gs like Larry was talking about, and really flattens out on the entries and the exit of the corner. So things happen fast here at Bristol.
And thanks to the fellows at BSI that do all of our onboard camera installs and development. That's the best gyro cam I've seen.
Well, yeah, the timing of it's actually right, and it really gives you a good indication of when the banking is changing and all the things that are happening.
It's the perfect racetrack to showcase that too. And listen to the throttle off. Like when he's going, you come off the gas and it's you got to get it in a rhythm, Kevin. That's what I've always tried to sell about this place. And if you don't, it can become chaotic and you don't breathe, and you have to slow this racetrack down, and it's very tricky to do.
Well, and it becomes a game of time, right? Like you just don't want to give up time. As you see Blaney approaching the back of the field right here. It's all about how fast can I make a pass? How much, if I make a mistake, I only want to give up a tenth, not half a second. So it's all a game of time to give up as little ground as possible.
Took him 20 laps.
Well,
when you want to talk about time, Kevin.
Yeah, he's right there on the tail end of the field. But drivers that have lost ground, Chase Briscoe started third. He is in ninth. He's lost 6 spots. Ty Gibbs started fifth. He's back in 14th. He's lost 9 positions. You saw him up on the outside. Took him a while to get down into the low groove and get in single file line. There's your Monster Energy cam on board Gibbs.
Yeah, and the other thing that's going to happen, you're going to see a lot of cars that are good on the bottom, and when this groove flips, you know, somewhere at this race today, you're going to see some cars that weren't as good on the bottom be really good on the top. So this is going to have this is going to be a tale of 2 stories as we go through this afternoon.
Ryan Blaney has lapped Chad Fincham, the only non-charter car in the field, making an occasional start here in the Cup Series, and now pulls down on Cody Ware, the 36th place car.
I've been watching William Byron in that 24 car, just a couple of cars in front of these two. He's already trying to move around a little bit and feel that outside, but you could see the grip on the bottom. The good news is, as hot as it is today, I would think that that's going to wear off even faster.
Yeah, and you'll start to see, like we did yesterday, that bottom groove will start to lighten up where those left side tires have picked that traction compound up. But you're seeing the rubber go down on the right sides right here on William Byron's Valvoline onboard. So he wants to move up and try some things, but he just doesn't have a lot of time to give up with that leader right behind him.
Yeah, don't take that shot out the back of that car because the leader is there.
The only way you could do that is get up there and clean that up, and that's exactly what he's doing. He has a little bit of time here before Blaney catches him, but not much.
"27 laps complete just like that." Ryan Blaney out front at Bristol. Saturday night is baseball night on Fox, and this week it's Ronald Acuna Jr. and the Braves versus Bryce Harper and the Phils. Or in the American League, it's Rangers-Mariners. Baseball night in America, Saturday, 7 Eastern, only on Fox. Ryan Blaney has led all of 39 laps. Kyle Larson caught him, and they have lapped William Byron, who had steering issues in qualifying. They changed the steering rack, so he forfeited that spot. And starting out back is never a good thing here at Bristol.
Well, he didn't forfeit many spots, so they already had a bad qualifying run, and we know he's never led a lap here. So
the important thing is to stay with them leaders and go with them when they make that hold and stay on that lucky dog scenario.
Yeah, which he's not in right now. You see the car in front of him. Jamie?
Yeah, and just to update on William Byron, I talked to his crew chief, Rudy Fugel, and he said it started in practice yesterday. That car just felt so heavy, really hard to turn to the left. That's why they qualified so terribly back in 34th. And on top of that, he said the speed and the balance of this 24 was not good either. So a mountain to climb for William Byron, who, as you guys noted, just went a lap down.
Well, Jamie, that bye week was much needed for Ross Chastain and this one team. 5 straight finishes outside the top 15. And their crew chief, Brandon McSwain, told me during the break they had some very honest conversations about where they need to be. Send it back to you guys in the booth.
Got him. Blaney moved up to try to make a pass, and Larson went right around him.
And that's the thing that Kyle Larson is so good at. You're going to see Blaney try to move around the racetrack right here. And like we talked, Larson already been back. He'd already been back there.
He got loose.
But Kyle Larson is so good at these situations where the groove is going to move up, and the bottom is going to wear out. At being able to be creative, and you saw him back there diamond in that corner. You see the preferred groove right back on the bottom of the racetrack right now. So to me, that tells me there's still a ton of grip on the bottom if the 5's still running the bottom of that racetrack like he is right now.
Christopher Bell moving up. He takes 5th place away from Tyler Reddick. Looks like more drivers are trying the upper groove in 3 and 4 than in 1 and 2.
I would agree with that. And I'm starting to see cars getting loose into the corner. We're talking about more horsepower, less downforce. I think that's playing into the scenario here.
And we heard that a lot yesterday, Clint. William Byron, one of those cars, and but several of them were talking about the loose condition as they would run, getting in the corner. And there's just nothing worse here at Bristol than to have to turn right to go down into the corner. And I think sometimes you might want to move up the racetrack a little bit to try to not have to turn that car so hard into the corner. Regan?
Well, Kevin switched over to Ty Gibbs in the number 54 car after we saw him lose all those spots on the top side at the start of the race. Been silent on the radio so far, hasn't said anything about the car or losing those positions, and that's exactly what crew chief Tyler Allen told me that they've been doing all year long. Focus forward, look out the windshield, don't worry about what's behind you. Been doing that in the car so far. Look for him to start moving back forward.
Yeah, he did nothing wrong. Simply everybody else got to the bottom lane and didn't leave him a hole to get into.
Yeah, sometimes it just works out that way as we watch Blaney roll right back in on the back bumper of that 5 car as he catches traffic.
He sure is. I mean, we saw Blaney get loose, made that adjustment trying to get around SVG and open the door up, but I don't think this battle's over. Might see these two putting on a show all day long.
Yeah, and I love the cat and mouse game here, Clint, when guy thinks you're going to run up the racetrack as you've caught him, and then he moves up the racetrack and you run the bottom of the racetrack. When you're evenly matched like that and you're going through traffic, having the cat and mouse game can be fun as you see Nemechek try to stay on the lead lap in front of Kyle Larson.
Yeah, Nemechek moved up like he was going to try to pass Cole Custer with the leaders right behind him.
Might be a pick.
Or might be a punt.
Kevin, walk me through the process of going up there. Just like we saw with Larson, that was pretty high. That track is ground up there, but you have to kind of work into it and get that rubber built up.
This is a log jam right here. Now Nemechek side by side with Larson, and they trade paint.
Yeah, I don't think Kyle Larson liked the fact that Nemechek was intentionally trying to do that, but he's got to do everything he can to try to stay on a lead lap, and banging doors again right there.
He's going to race him as hard as possible. You go a lap down here, it's hard to get it back.
Yeah, and I think that the process of moving up the racetrack as you watch the 5 work his way under Cole Custer on the bottom, the process of moving up the racetrack is trying to stay right at the top of the black rubbered in groove that you can see. You have a narrow entry and diamond that corner and just wait for that groove to spread out on the entry and exit.
Christopher Bell in that 20. He's the class of the field right now. He has picked up 10 spots from where he started. And starting spot, not indicative of how fast a car is. The top 10 on the grid were covered by exactly 1/10 of a second. That's how close this field was. But Bell had to overcome, well, 5 rows worth of cars to get where he is right now.
And they've only slowed down like a half a second, 6/10 of a second. So, but at Bristol, that's a lot. Yeah. If you can keep your car hanging on, as Christopher Bell has done, as now you see Riley Herbst, who's had a great qualifying effort, and now you see that one car starting to slide backwards a little bit, Clint. We actually talked about that before the race, them needing to be able to make their car run a little bit longer than what they have been this year.
Riley Herbst trying to work his way back to the front. Started 4th, running 4th right now, as Kyle Larson had a little trouble there in traffic. Brad Keselowski was running 22nd when he spun in turn 2 from contact.
Well, I see the Goodyear lettering off that left rear a little bit, and let's watch why. Back here in the back, check this out. Looks like Stenhouse on the inside of him got up and got in his left rear and spun him right around.
Yeah, it looked like the 47 of Stenhouse might have had to chase his car up the racetrack, and like we saw with Ryan Blaney earlier, got loose. Brad Keselowski just happened to be in the wrong spot.
Now Brad will stay on the lead lap. Here's some radio from Ricky Stenhouse.
Still TJ inside. All good, right? Yeah, I'm plenty good. I didn't really see it there. I was kind of looking back at the leader. Yeah, I had a factor in.
Josh?
Well, for Kyle Larson, they're having some trouble wrapping the bottom. Said he is loose in so far right now. It'll be 4 tires and fuel for them. Jamie?
Tyler Reddick says he feels like the car is a little bit disconnected, getting tighter in the front end, and the back is just out of the track, he said. So they're going to make an air pressure adjustment here and 4 tires as we swing across over to the front stretch in Regan.
Christopher Bell up 11 positions where he started in 3rd place right now. Very happy, doesn't have any complaints with the car. The team complimenting on him on his patience behind the wheel right now. And Ryan Blaney in the 12 car, as they caught traffic, started a fight with that car getting too loose in the traffic.
Remember, we pit on both sides of the racetrack here. You enter the pits at turn 2 and under caution have to come all the way around and exit at turn 1. 2 drivers stayed out. Chase Elliott, Josh Berry. Welcome back to the Food City 500 at Bristol Motor Speedway. Our aerial coverage is provided by Goodyear, tried, tested, and proven legendary. This is a unique pit road in 2026 NASCAR racing. Under green, you pit on both sides of the racetrack, but you leave the pits and go back up on the racetrack on the same side that you enter. Under caution, it's different. You have to run the whole pit road all the way around. And Tyler Reddick was nabbed for speeding in block number 4 at the top there above the RI in Bristol.
Yeah, so that's where Reddick was speeding. And a number of things, he could have been trying to gas it up to get into his box, or you have him trying to speed up for the curb. But for him, let's see what he said first.
I said, got to be exactly like the practice roll. We got to go back on that. You said confirm. I thought we went 2 up everywhere. No, we went back on that. Sorry, miscommunication for sure. Okay, yeah, copy. I am sorry, I did not catch that.
Well, that is his first speeding penalty of the year.
Yeah, and that's a major mistake right there. You know, that miscommunication in the track position that they have to give up. That's a massive penalty. Michael Jordan probably didn't like to hear that, but he's been around this long enough. He knows how it works.
I can't believe he had his mic up.
So he will restart 31st. Tyler Reddick will. The free pass goes to Connor Zilich. And don't forget, the 2 drivers who will restart on the front row did not stop and take on Sunoco fuel with 0 carbon bioethanol and Goodyear tires.
Under 70 laps, Kevin. I kind of thought like you did at the top of the show, it'd take at least 100 for that outside line to come in, but it's already here. Yeah,
that outside line came in quick, and I think it's going to continue to move up the racetrack. I think the interesting part is going to see what happens with these 2 guys on the front row. Every time we use this traction compound, it usually tears that left front tire up. Larry showed us one yesterday and gets feathered.
Now, 5 of the lapped cars stayed out, did not pit, got waved around to the tail end of the lead lap. Nemechek, Van Gisbergen, Gilliland, Ty Dillon, and Cody Ware. Here we come to the Echo Park Automotive Restart Zone to complete lap 70.
It's a pretty good restart on old tires for Elliott on the bottom.
Except for the guys with new tires on top.
Well, that's a massive deficit there, especially on the not preferred line on the bottom.
Yeah, and right now, Kyle Larson, he's just much more comfortable moving his car around the racetrack. He raced on Saturday. You see him right up the top of the black with the groove moving up the racetrack, and now he's back on the bottom, knows that's the fastest way around. But those guys up front struggled to get their cars to turn, and he was able to carry that momentum around them.
But look at Blaney struggling to get down and get in line, and Bell, thank you guys, continue to be the fastest on pit road, put him up front in 2nd place and got him around a hard car to pass in Blaney. Did it on pit road.
In yesterday's race, quite a bit of 3-wide racing through the corners here as things sorted out. Chastain on the outside of Herbst, that's for 6th place.
Well, and you already see how much more racy this racetrack is on this restart right here, being able to use that high groove compared to how it was at the beginning of the race. As you see the 1 car, Ross Chastain, give the 35 of Riley Herbst a little shot up the racetrack, but not able to get to the bottom, and Chase Briscoe's able to get that position on him.
He hit him hard enough that it took him up the racetrack and opened the door up for Briscoe.
Yeah, and we've seen that one of Ross Chastain take off really good on all these restarts, but the last run he faded backwards, and I think right now it's just the aggression on the restarts that's keeping his track position that he has currently.
Larry Mack?
Yeah, I want to talk about the 21 car, Josh Berry, Miles Stanley as crew chief, Chase Elliott, the 9, and Alan Gustafson. I think this is a great move. The laps are clicking off. We've got less than 50 to go in this stage. When that caution came out, Chase Elliott was running 21st. Josh Berry was running 25th. Even if they start to fade, I think this is still going to be a net gain.
I agree, but he did a good job. Put that in Josh Berry as well. He held up his end of the deal and got a good jump and a good restart and put himself in position.
We'll keep an eye on that. There's only 2 cars a lap down. Cole Custer and William Byron. Chad Fincham is 2 laps down. The other 34 cars are all on the lead lap here.
Yeah, and really where those, as you see them 3 wide back here in the back of the pack.
Look out.
Ryan Preece, go up there in the Harry Gant groove.
Well, Logano tried to block him and keep him from it, but he just moved on up a little bit higher and went right around him.
Yeah, as we ride on board this Ford Racing Cam with Joey Logano, it looks to me like they're definitely off a little bit today. Had a great run at Martinsville, and we saw that miserable week that he had the week before at Darlington. It looks like we're back struggling here at the beginning of this race.
Brad's with middle lane, still clear half mid with a pull down. Watch your bottom exit.
Logano 25th right now. 16 seconds, 16:49 lap times, 9 seconds back of the leader. Here's 7th place, Briscoe and Hocevar. Things have kind of settled out here for the moment. Austin Cindric had been part of that battle with Ross Chastain, who has dropped to 11th behind Bubba Wallace.
Well, we've seen Hocevar run really well here in the past at Bristol as we ride on board with Chase Briscoe. Looking back at Carson, running 8th, and I think as this race goes on, it's going to come down to all the things that we just saw. Don't make a mistake on pit road. Get good restarts. And I look at Josh Berry and Chase Elliott.
Track position.
There's obviously a track position piece to this on the old tires that's going to change the way that these crew chiefs and engineers are thinking now.
And they all saw that too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, make note, guys.
The biggest thing I want to see, what do their tires look like at the end of this stage? Because that's going to be about 115 green flag laps.
And I think in the worst case scenario, Larry, at the beginning of this race, right, I think that wear, if they don't look great, probably going to get a little bit better as the day goes on. So if they make it, to the end of this stage, it's going to change the complexion of everything that we're thinking.
So the first 2 stages are each 125 laps. The final stage is twice as long.
And you think softer tires, you're like, well, they're going to wear out more. And we've experienced that so many times in so many places that we've gone. You put the softer tires on, they almost
go faster.
A little heat, go faster, and wear less. So it'll be that this pit stop in this cycle has changed the way that everybody's thinking for the rest of this race because of what Josh Berry and Chase Elliott are doing.
Yeah, that's the one that raised my eyebrow the highest is the fact that they were able to not only get a good restart, but they're holding their own right here.
And that's going to be where the deficit is on that restart with the old scuffed tires on there compared to that sticker tire. That's the part that you have to survive. Really the first lap, if you can just maintain
first corner.
The first corner is tough, and that's where you saw Larson get that position because you just have to wait on the front tires.
Let's update Alex Bowman. He was a story in our pre-race. This is his first race back after being out since COTA, Circuit of the Americas, with vertigo, something they were unable to duplicate in the week since, but he kept suffering from symptoms, so they sat him out. But he is back here for Bristol, and wow, what a place to come back with 3G side loadings and vertical loadings in every corner, in every lap. But Alex on the lead lap here, running in 30th right now. Kyle Larson has led 44 of the 93 laps so far. We've got a full weekend of football coming up. Friday, 8 Eastern, the Dallas Renegades with quarterback Austin Reed look to stay hot as they face the Columbus Aviators. Then Saturday at 4, the Orlando Storm meet the Birmingham Stallions. The United Football League on Fox. 102 laps complete here at Bristol. Kyle Larson's Hendrick Chevy out in front of the Joe Gibbs Toyota of Christopher Bell. Common denominator, a couple of old dirt track aces coming to the front.
You know, and you watch this race and how the groove's starting to move around and momentum, and as fast as this place is, that's a sprint car vibe and feel to it. And look who's at the top of the field, Larson and Bell.
Regan?
Well, Mike, before the break, you guys were asking about tires and what these tires that came off these cars look like. This is the tires off of the 20 car of Christopher Bell, and I can tell you, as you look across these dots and measure the wear on them, these tires look absolutely perfect. We got the right front here, maybe just a little bit of wear on the inner edge of what should be the right rear right here. But if I'm a crew chief and I see this, I'm really happy with it. Softer tires, but look better than anything we've seen here in a long time.
Well, Bell has obviously, well, he's had a good weekend. First off, he won the truck race on Friday night, and we know we've obviously seen him in victory lane here. But you know, the interesting part about where we're headed is still that bottom groove, right? Like we've seen the groove spread out, and we've seen everything happen so far. But when does that bottom groove start to give up grip so that the top becomes more dominant than what it is right now? It just hasn't got to that point yet.
William Byron just went a second lap down to his teammate Kyle Larson. Rough day for the 24. Well, let's get an update on the drivers who did not pit during the one and only caution so far. Jamie.
Josh Berry restarted second, and now he's slipped back just 2 spots to 4th. Pretty nice gain for the driver who started 25th. Remember last race at Martinsville, he finished 10th, moved up 7 spots in the points. A lot of momentum on their side. Happy with their call. So far the car is good. You're just telling him that the guys that took tires can wrap the bottom a little bit better than he can on old tires.
Yeah, Martinsville, you mentioned, he had the biggest points gain of any driver in our last race. 9th place here, Denny Hamlin going around the outside of Chase Elliott.
Oh, my goodness. Ross Chastain, he just rammed into the back of the 2 car right there of Austin Cindric. So I'm not sure if...
About turned him into the wall.
Yeah, if there's something that went on, or if he just hit him harder than he expected to.
Well, that's not the first contact today between those two.
You know, listen to Jamie's update on the 21. The 9 car, however, didn't get that good jump and you know, established up front with clean air, and he's mired back here in traffic at the deficit of old tires, struggling a little bit more.
12th right now, trying the outside on the number 1, going way up high, and Chris Buescher looking on. Right now, Cindric is in position to get the last stage point 12 laps from now.
Yeah, and unless Chase Elliott just has a big fade here in these last 11 laps,
still a gain.
Still going to be a net gain for them.
That's right. And that's experience and wisdom, and Allen does that so well on top of the box for Chase Elliott, of knowing that, using his experience and making those gutsy calls. That's a hard call, because if it doesn't work, boy, you look bad. Confidence in your driver, knowing he'll hold his end of the deal up too.
Yeah, we saw Chase try to go back to the bottom that last lap, missed the bottom groove, and seems like right now that top groove is his best defense to be able to try to hang on to as many positions as possible.
Chris Buescher completes the pass of the 9. Daniel Suarez next.
See Ty Gibbs right there on the bottom of the racetrack trying to make up some of the ground that he has lost early in this race. Not sure how he got all the way back to 16th there, but definitely lost some spots as you see him trying to work under Zane Smith right here.
Well, when he took off, he had a really, really loose race car, and it still looks like it's out from underneath of him quite a bit. And you know as well as I do, it's hard to keep a loose race car here underneath of you. It's especially hard when you're door to door and trying to hold it off the cars, or 3 wide.
And Gibbs is running right about where he restarted after the caution flag. Here's some radio on the 54. I'm sorry, this will be Tyler Reddick.
Brake shake with the steering. They get hard to turn. Must lose the power steering in the shake or something. You can't steer through it.
Well, he's fallen all the way back to 26th, still on the lead lap. Kyle Busch right now is the last car on the lead lap with 4 laps to go in stage 1.
Yeah, and that 45 car and that 23 car have more problems with brake shakes than anybody I know, but hard to drive here at Bristol when you have that.
He's going to hold on with 4 to go under that lead lap, but it was close. Larson's right behind him.
Yeah, and that's really not something that you're fixing today. You know, once it gets in those rotors and into the brake pedal, you're pretty much stuck with that. You might be able to put some tape on there. Usually they're too cold.
Usually they're too cold, and running on the outside, you're going to use less brake, probably make it worse.
But a lot of times what happens is you see Denny Hamlin get loose right there. A lot of times what happens is, you know, that pad builds up on there from it being too cold and you can't get it off.
Hamlin's had a nice drive up to 7th. He's trying to take 6th from Herbst as we come down to the last couple laps of the stage, and Kyle Busch trying to hang on to the tail end of the lead lap. Bumper tag up there in front of the leaders. They're 3 wide with everybody trying to hang on to this lead lap. One more lap.
You're right, Mike. Boy, they were trying to wreck, holding on to that last of the lead lap. Woo!
So Kyle Larson gets his 8th stage win at Bristol and his first stage win of this season.
You know, hopefully we'll get to the point where NASCAR and American auto racing gets that respect that it deserves, because there's so much different, diverse racing in America, I think, compared to Europe, that in my mind, it would have to develop, you know, a driver that's just as good or potentially better than any other part of the world.
Speed is back. It's an all-new Fox Sports digital show with Harvick and Buxton, fueled by Poet. Subscribe to Speed on Fox, on YouTube, the Fox Sports app, or wherever you get your podcasts. Stage 1 in the books. Larson Bell won 2. To nobody's surprise. Larson won here last spring. Bell won here in the fall race. Bell won the truck race on Friday night. Larson was the runner-up yesterday. They are the favorites. And they locked it up in stage 1 ahead of Blaney, Briscoe, and Berry. Josh Berry, who did not stop during the one and only caution flag, was rewarded with a 5th place finish for his Wood Brothers Ford. Pit road's open. Josh?
Well, for Kyle Larson, your stage 1 winner, said he felt good overall about the car, said it was a little stiff when he was running up top. Nothing he can't manage. It'll be 4 tires and fuel. Jamie?
And a great strategy call for Josh Berry that came on the radio and said, great job hanging in there on those older tires. Says he's not bad, just a little bit loose off and a little loose into the corner as well. 4 tires, air pressure adjustment for the 21. Regan.
For Christopher Bell, everything still continuing to go well for that car. That run really good from the center off of the corner. Needed some stability from the center, or from entry to the center of the corner. And keep an eye on the 8 car as he exits the pit box here. Could be very tight with that car. And the 12 of Ryan Blaney way looser landing that run and tighter in the center.
Larson and Bell win the race off pit road. Briscoe. Then Denny Hamlin. Some sad news to pass along. Joe Gibbs racing engineer Matt Faulkner's son Jonas passed away peacefully in his sleep on Easter morning, ending a lifelong battle with epilepsy. Despite his health challenges, Jonas shared his passion for all things racing, go-karts, Mario Brothers, and basketball with everyone he met. Jonas Faulkner was 16. Next Sunday, following the NASCAR race at Kansas, keep it on Fox for the fastest racing on earth on the West Coast. Alex Palou, Joseph Newgarden, and the stars of IndyCar take on the streets of Long Beach. The road to the Indy 500 continues next Sunday, 5:30 Eastern. only on Fox. Well, this tricky pit road has nabbed 3 drivers for speeding penalties on this stop, and one of them is the second-place car, Christopher Bell, along with John Hunter Nemechek. Bell in Section 7, Nemechek Section 10, and Michael McDowell in Section 11. Zane Smith called for equipment interference on his stop. That is Bell's first speeding penalty of the season and his first ever here. Connor Zilich gets the free pass and gets back on the lead lap. So 28 cars on the lead lap for this restart. Denny Hamlin will line up alongside Kyle Larson as they approach the Echo Park Automotive restart zone, and the Chevy Corvette pace car ducks for cover.
Ready, green, rolling.
Well, we haven't mentioned Denny Hamlin's name many times today, but there he is, shows up at the front of that restart right there. Chase Briscoe able to get around him, and Josh Berry now on equal tires with everybody. So that strategy really paid off for that 21 car.
And go back to Denny Hamlin, though, +4 for his pit crew on pit road. Them Gibbs boys have been putting a show on getting them tires on fast.
Now, 2 big attaboys for stage 1. Miles Stanley and the Wood Brothers team. That strategy that's put Berry into the top 5. And Riley Herbst, who had a great qualifying run, he's hung in there in the top 7 all day.
Yeah, he's done a nice job today, qualified well, and really a lot of times that's half the battle, right? Putting yourself up at the front of these fields and being able to get that track position. But as we've gone through these pit stops, his team's done a nice job on pit road, and he's doing a nice job on the racetrack to keep himself at the front of this field. Hocevar underneath Blaney right there. Really we've kind of seen Blaney kind of fade a little bit. He's got himself right there 5th or 6th, battling with Hocevar.
Yeah, not a good pit stop at all for that 12 crew. 12.3 that last stop.
Well, we've talked about the struggles that 12 pit crew has had. We've seen him leave the wheels loose, and sometimes it's just being slow. And we kind of expected them to make some changes, but they hadn't made any changes, kind of stuck with their guys. And, you know, right now they're
shooting par.
Yeah.
Tyler Reddick has picked up 6 spots since the restart. They had a long stop. It was 21 seconds as, Bell is around between turns 1 and 2.
He's been in a wall. Look at the right sides of those tires. Is it toe links broke or
all right, caution's out. We'll get caught up. Caution's out.
Yeah, you heard him on the radios to say it's killed. And, man, this is just how this goes. When you have that mistake, get to the back of the pack. And
unravels fast.
Unravels really quickly. Oh, he just got loose right there, Clint.
When he got on the gas, car come around, got in a wall, and
third caution flag of the day flies for Christopher Bell's spin down in turns 1 and 2 after contact with the wall. They've always had a fun fan zone here at Bristol for the Food City 500. 148 laps complete. We're 23 laps into stage 2. Here's the car that brought out the caution, Christopher Bell. He has now lost 3 laps on pit road, making repairs to the right rear.
See, I'm on the right top of your screen. As soon as he jumps on the gas, the car comes around, chases it up the hill, bam!
Yeah,
right into that right rear wheel.
Hard part right about there is there. You see the light spots in the racetrack. There's bumps right there. He was loose just before those, and you saw the car kind of bounce around through those bumps and pitch it in a direction that he couldn't save.
So the only cars that made pit stops were cars that took the wave around on the last caution flag, get them caught back up in the same tire cycle with the cars on the lead lap. Christopher Bell entered with a 6-race top 10 streak here. Josh?
Was a little concern for the one team of Ross Chastain during that caution. They were reporting some low battery voltage numbers. They were concerned, tried to cycle the power back. They seem to feel better about it right now, but we're going to keep an eye on the one and let you know how this plays out, guys.
I think that big fish's name on the left side behind the one is Clinton.
Hey,
is that because his mouth is big?
Let me tell you something. As nice as it is outside, I'm ready to wet a line.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful day for it.
Heck yeah.
Perfect.
Good day to win a race, too.
Great outdoors graphics.
Can't beat yourself, Kevin. You just said it.
And it's not over yet. And as far as the cars that beat themselves. But right now, Christopher Bell, Tyler Reddick, all these guys that have had these little issues, those are things that when it's this hard to pass and so close from a competition standpoint, you can't beat yourself.
Now, Todd Gilliland got the free pass. Chase Briscoe was the second place car, but he chose the high line behind Kyle Larson. Josh Berry first on the bottom in front of Hocevar as we go back to green.
Well, he really had him slowed up that time, didn't he?
Well, and I think the more he can slow him up, the better, because that bottom lane, just where the banking is and how the bumps are on the bottom of the racetrack, it's hard to get those tires hooked up on those restarts to keep them from spinning, and that's why those guys give up a couple spots to pick that top lane, and it paid off for Chase Briscoe.
It's Denny Hamlin, the first car on top, with Blaney behind him. Side by side for fourth with Hocevar. Bubba Wallace is in that mix now.
Yeah, I was going to say, you see Bubba Wallace right there behind his boss man there, Denny Hamlin. Bubba's been a little bit quiet today, but right there in the mix and inside the top 10, running 7th.
Just needs a clean weekend, no mistakes. Again, don't beat yourself. Martinsville was a tough one for them. Probably let his emotions get the best of him a little bit. Took him out of the race and knocked him way down the points. Need to have a good solid weekend here. Get some stage points. Get out of here with a good finish and reestablish within these points. They're going to be so important when we get in the playoffs.
Well, and I think one thing about when you go back to Martinsville and you talk about Bubba and his situation of everything that happened, if you're honest with yourself, you can learn a lot from it. And being able to analyze those things, I had to do it a lot throughout my career, but definitely having a good day today.
Bubba and Carson Hocevar texted back and forth this week, sorted things out. Bubba says, we're good.
Well, it's
and took full responsibility.
It's easy to take somebody's word over a text.
Yeah. It's easier to work it out that way than it is to crash into each other week after week on the racetrack.
Costs less.
Yeah.
Joey Logano trying to make the high line work off turn 2. He's got Noah Gragson in tow. And then Tyler Reddick moving on up. Chase Elliott with him as well.
Yeah, and Joey Logano is
Oh, turn 4. 4 of them pile up together. Van Gisbergen, Nemechek, Bowman, and Todd Gilliland scoots away. Cody Ware was near it, but I don't think he was in it. That'll put us under caution for the 4th time today at lap 160.
Yeah, you see that left front right there, broken on Alex Bowman's car.
I think he's done for the day.
Yeah, it looks like he's broken in every corner there. All 4 wheels look to have had contact.
I don't think it was his doing either. Started in front of him.
So Van Gisbergen will be the first car that ended up involved. He's way on the left corner of the screen.
And watch him. Starts right in front of this pack, gets sideways, getting into the corner.
Loose.
Around, they start checking up to try to avoid him and got collected. Alex Bowman nowhere to go, right in his lap. This came right out from underneath of him, didn't he, Kev?
And we saw the same thing out of Christopher Bell's car. And, you know, when we heard the drivers, and you see Bell go by right there, heard the drivers talking about what they felt, and they're just talking about the cars being light on their feet. And now that traction compound is starting to wear out, and you see that with Shane's car, just backslides right out from underneath him. Very similar, just a different spot to the 20 car of Christopher Bell's spin.
Track narrows up quickly when one car gets completely sideways, doesn't it? Caution flag number 4 when Shane Van Gisbergen spins, collecting 3 others in turn 4.
Next week, NASCAR rolls into the Sunflower State with ARCA, O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, and the Cup Series headlining the action, with racing on Saturday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern on FS1 and 7 p.m. Eastern on the CW. On-track action continues on Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern on Fox.
Here at Bristol, 164 laps complete. Couple extra caution laps here as they've sent the track sweeper out. Pick up some of the marbles. They didn't get that one, but that's okay. It rolls harmlessly down to the apron.
It's just a chunk of rubber. It's fine.
Yeah. Free pass to Ty Dillon. Behind the wall is Shane Van Gisbergen. Still on pit road, John Hunter Nemechek and Alex Bowman. Jamie.
Yeah, you see that work continuing there, and just want to update. Denny Hamlin talked to them this morning, and they said with this new package, this new tire, it makes these cars harder to drive, but they were fully confident that Denny can adapt. Well, he's doing his job. They're adjusting well on this car as well. 2 runs ago, he came on the radio and said the back end was just out of the track, but after 1 cycle on these tires, the car is coming to him, and he said he's turning better, so things going in the right direction. And you guys noted in the booth how well his pit crew is getting it done, up 3 spots on that last stop.
Thanks, Jamie. We will restart with 29 lead lap cars.
Easiest way to get him, isn't it, Kevin?
Yeah, there is nothing better than those guys on pit road being locked in and gaining those positions.
4 cars are laps down. Nemechek and Bowman on pit road. Van Gisbergen behind the wall, and Chad Fincham. Here's Eric Jones, our Advent Health Cam, on board his number 43. Having a solid run. He is in 19th for Legacy Motor Club, which this week announced they had added Darius Rucker as an investor and partner in Jimmy Johnson's group. So we welcome him. And we get set for the choose.
Well, you see the same thing right there. Briscoe decided to go right behind Larson, gave up a couple spots to get that outside position. These used tire restarts are always a little bit different than the new tire restarts, so it'll be interesting to see how those guys can fire off. It's just so difficult to fire off on that bottom lane on older tires, and the bottom lane just doesn't fire off as good anyway. But Josh Berry happy to take that front row. A lot of guys believe that if the front row is open, they take it.
Bowman has left pit road. That just leaves Nemechek in the pit lane and Van Gisbergen behind the wall. Everybody else is on track as we get set for this restart. Larson outside of Berry. Briscoe outside Hocevar. And here we go.
Kyle Larson just rockets out there on that restart. Great launch for that 5 car. Chase Briscoe battling Josh Berry there for second. Makes it work again in that top lane.
Bubba Wallace moves up for 5th. He's been really good on restarts today.
See Ryan Blaney making that top lane work right now. 3 wide, Clint.
Got several 3 wides with Riley Herbst getting used up a bit, moving him toward the back of the pack.
And that started clear back the lap before off of 2. He's had a really tough lap here. Lost a lot of positions, Riley Herbst.
Ty Gibbs and Austin Cindric getting kind of physical there too, right behind the group we're seeing. You're riding on board Gibbs. Inside of Cindric into turn number 3, where the 2 goes way wide.
Still up there.
Yeah, and as we ride on board right here, the thing that I noticed is Joey Logano. We talked about him struggling early in the race, and he's a couple cars in front of Ty Gibbs right here, underneath Denny Hamlin.
Can't keep a good man down.
Well, Logano finished 25th in stage 1, but then his pit stop had their best stop of the year as Alex Bowman has taken his number 48 behind the wall. So sorry, a short day for Bowman is in his return.
Half in line. 3/4 at the top, 1 at the top. Austin's moved up both ends behind him.
Yeah, it just seems like right now that groove is really starting to spread out. 45 car, he's been as high as anybody on both ends of this racetrack. We talk about Tyler Reddick and his speeding penalty earlier. He's worked his way back up to 14th right now. So that 45 car has found a lane up top that is working really well. And most people not in it, Mike.
What he's finding is grip that I don't see a lot of cars finding. There's some cars out of control out here, slipping and sliding around.
Here's Reddick back to the bottom off turn number 4 to battle with Chase Elliott. This will be for 13th spot.
Well, we knew this racetrack was going to go through some changes. I think as that bottom groove has worn out, we've seen guy 97 SVG spun out on the bottom, 20 car of Christopher Bell spun out running the top. So I think as this racetrack has rubbered up and the sun has been beating down on that racetrack all afternoon, a lot of these guys are slip sliding around, as you see Logano right there. I think he just meant to rattle his cage, but kind of hit him harder than he expected down the straightaway again.
Blaney on the move, fastest lap.
Yep, back on lap 7. He had the Xfinity fastest lap of the race. Ross Chastain, Kyle Larson, Riley Herbst on that list.
I'm impressed with this 22 car, guys.
All 3 Penske cars are in the top 10.
I really thought he was in big trouble to start this race, but they have made some great adjustments and driven to the front. Jamie, tell us more.
Well, yesterday in qualifying, Kevin, he qualified 20th. That was the worst of the 3 Penske cars. And I talked to Joey this morning. He said, the driver just messed up. I didn't do my job. And he said, we're in the ballpark when it comes to long run speed. He was actually optimistic, Kevin, and they have made some good adjustments today. That car started freeing up early in this race, and it's in his wheelhouse, just like he likes it right now.
Well, if you add in the Wood Brothers car, which is prepared at the Penske shop, that's 4 Penske cars in the top 10. Larry?
Yeah, I've been watching Tyler Reddick in his 45 car, who has now moved up to the 14th position. They've got that car turning good. He's able to pick the throttle up much earlier than even Larson and Briscoe and stay in the throttle and go back to the last time on pit road. We know how much ground they lost. They worked in the brake duct area of both fronts, the left front and the right front. I get a feeling they may have put some tape on those brake ducts.
Reddick back up into the top 15 at lap 184, 59 of 125 laps in stage 2 complete. Kyle Larson out front. He's led more laps here than any other racetrack. Closing in on 200 laps at Bristol. Aerial coverage brought to you by Goodyear. Legends aren't born, they're proven. Kyle Larson, the leader, has 1.6 seconds on Ryan Blaney. Blaney lost 4 spots on pit road at the end of stage 1. 54 laps later, he's right back up into second place. Regan?
Well, Mike, that 12 car, Ryan Blaney clicking off some really good lap times right now. They've been struggling to find the balance between the bottom of the track and the top of the track. They've been too tight and through the middle on the bottom, too loose through the top, though, and now with the adjustments they've made, really zoned in on it. He's been pretty happy with the car this entire run.
He should be. That 5 car is getting bigger in the windshield.
Yeah, and it's going to be harder for the 5 car right now because he's caught, you know, some more lap traffic, and Blaney's got pretty clean track in front of him. So car in between those two is William Byron, though. Man, what a struggle it has been today for that 24.
You don't see that out of that car. I don't know if I've ever seen just a complete miss for a weekend.
They are now 3 laps down.
Yeah, and we saw this out of Joey Logano, and when we first went to this car, people would ask me, man, what happened last weekend? And it's so hard to explain to people what a knife edge this car is to get to handle correctly. And if you miss it by just a little bit, you can wind up with a day like William Byron's having 3 laps down.
I was taking Denny a while to get past Bubba Wallace. He tracked him, ran his line, ran a different line, and finally found a way by on the inside for 7th place there.
And you see Ty Gibbs now underneath Bubba Wallace. It seems like this 54 car, as the runs go on, and he got done with that little dance with the 2 car of Austin Cindric back there, back and forth with front bumper and back bumper. He's been able to move his way forward.
That was more of an altercation than a dance.
Yeah.
For about 25 laps.
Well, usually an altercation ends in somebody on the floor, Clint.
Well, let's go up and check in on 3rd place. Regan.
Chase Briscoe running in 3rd, Mike, has been struggling with the car throughout the course of the day, even though he's been running in the top 5, complaining about overall grip level, being on top of the racetrack, being very slippery. The latest update from the driver after he lost 2nd place about 5 laps ago was it lost all grip at one point right there. So something to keep an eye on with the 19 car. Also, crew chief James Small said, we can't get loose in. If we get loose in, that's really bad for us.
Thanks, Regan. Now, Noah Gregson, 12th place right now, under fire from Tyler Reddick, but Noah said in practice he was putting in lots of sim time, trying to improve his performance. They've had a good day. Restarted 11th, running 12th right now.
Yeah, and they need a good day, and you heard Noah talk about it pre-race and qualifying show. They just need something good to happen. They've had a tough year and a half, and need to get the ship righted with good performance on the racetrack. Having it today.
Denny Hamlin closing on Joey Logano, and that'll be for 6th place.
Yeah, and it's so Bristol.
And Brad Keselowski. Brad was spun by Ricky Stenhouse back at lap 62. He's fought his way back up into the top 15, right behind his teammate there, Chris Buescher.
Yeah, and that's what I was getting ready to say. It's just so Bristol as you get to this closer to the second half of this race, and you hear guys starting to talk about lost all grip all of a sudden, and then all of a sudden you see new guys start to come to the front with their cars that are handling good. The guys that have been going good go to the back or to the middle of the pack and start struggling with their cars. So this racetrack can be so finicky when you get all this rubber on the track and you have the traction compound around the bottom of the racetrack.
Let me tell you somebody that's impressing me is this guy right here. Carson Hocevar, running 4th, started 10th, just running a really good race right now. Right where you need to be, minding his own business, not a car around him, just logging laps. Very good job so far for the 77.
He got a lot of laps here Friday night. He was one of 7 full-time Cup drivers to run the truck race Friday night, and that was a record. That was the most Cup drivers ever to compete in a Craftsman Truck Series race.
That kid's the real deal. I believe in him.
Yeah, as you're on board with Chase Briscoe right here, I mean, he's had a quiet day too, but guy up front right there, Kyle Larson, he's been the car to beat all day, as we've seen several times here at Bristol in the past.
Larson starting to get into some heavy race traffic right now. 27 cars on the lead lap.
If I met you in a city.
One and a half. They come to Thunder Valley to cheer for their favorites. And the favorites had been Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell, last year's winners here. But Bell got against the wall and spun and lost 4 laps making repairs.
Whoa, did you see Kyle Larson get loose right there, Mike?
With Ryan Blaney right up on him. That's for the lead. Daniel Suarez just ahead.
I heard you say, did you see Kyle Larson get loose? And I heard him say Ryan Blaney right on him.
Yeah.
Look at that.
And there's just so many of these cars that are
needing an adjustment out of the 5 is where I'm getting at, Kevin.
And we saw Ryan Blaney drive right up to him, and you see what Kyle Larson is fighting right now, which is what we saw in practice. His car is loose and up on top of the racetrack. And
you told me how important it's going to be to keep up with this racetrack, and I think that's exactly what we're seeing.
4th place battle, bottom of your screen. Denny Hamlin moving past Hocevar. Still a ways to go in stage 2, 21 more.
Well, we've got 271 laps to go in this race, and it's not going to be the last time that this racetrack goes to a swing. As I look out the window right here, and these cars are on the back straightaway, you're starting to see that shadow creep in onto the racetrack. So as that shadow gets further and further over the racetrack, this track will start to change a tremendous amount. We saw it yesterday in practice as we went from the first practice to the second practice and then into qualifying, but that track temperature will go way down. Jamie?
Well, Alex Bowman has been checked and released, making a return to the track after missing 4 races. How did you feel mentally, physically when you were in the car there?
Yeah, I was fine. Just, a frustrating day. Really struggled with our Ally 48 Chevy. Thought we were okay in practice, and then obviously qualified bad, and then just really struggled with the handling today. So bummer. Hate that we didn't get a chance to work on it, make it better, and finish the race. But kind of outside of our control. When you run that bad, stuff can happen, and it happened to us. So move on to Kansas, another should be good racetrack for us. This one should have been too, but it's the way it works out sometimes. We'll go try again next week.
Glad to see you're back.
Thanks.
Denny Hamlin, fastest car on the racetrack, going after Chase Briscoe here for 3rd place.
Yeah, and we're seeing cars that, like Denny Hamlin's, come and go, right? Like
here, 1-5.
Denny Hamlin, he was 3 or 4 spots back. I don't know how many laps ago, but now he's steadily just worked his way forward over this last period of the race.
He and Josh Berry 16-16 on the last lap. That's a 10th faster than leader Kyle Larson.
To your point, looking back through the field and watching these cars and watching the leaderboard, this is another one, Kevin. It's really come on strong and holding strong on a long run. The 6-car Keselowski.
Well, we talk about it every week. The weakness for this car is qualifying. Brad knows his way around. They always seem to have great race pace, but it takes them all day to get themselves in a position to be in a spot to where they can contend in the top 10, but they spend the first 2 stages getting there.
He's at 1.5 to 2 tenths faster than most of the 4 or 5 cars in front of him. Larry, what do you got?
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk on a lot of different radios about Denny Hamlin in this 11 car because he was one of the first ones a number of laps ago to really move to the top in 1 and 2. And they've been saying, if you're going to run the top, you got to get in the top. You can't be down in the middle. You got to be up in that black. That's what Denny's been doing.
All right, Kyle Larson, he's got a battle on his hand right here. He's trying to lap Austin Dillon and Michael McDowell, and neither one are going to go quietly this close to the end of the stage. And by the way, he's got Blaney right up his bumper.
Yeah, you've got 10 laps left in this stage, so you want to do everything that you can to not be the lucky dog, because when you're the lucky dog, you line up at the tail end of everybody, and so it puts you vulnerable to be a lap down. So if you can keep yourself on this lead lap, you can line up in front of the lap cars, you can line up in front of all the penalty cars, give yourself a better chance of not going a lap down again.
There are some guys begging for this stage to be over with.
Yeah.
They are really slipping, sliding around.
Austin Dillon, Michael McDowell, Kyle Busch, and Ricky Stenhouse are the cars just in front of the leader trying to stay on the lead lap.
Yeah, and you see Austin Dillon up the racetrack right there. That was a great corner for him. But you heard the spotters talking about moving up the racetrack high enough to be at the top of that black, which is where you want to be, especially through 1 and 2. The bumps get smoother through the middle of the corner. You go around the bump on the exit of the corner. So a lot of times you got to get a high enough to go around those bumps on that end of the track.
All right, business is picked up. That white and green number 7, Daniel Suarez, he's trying to get his lap back from Kyle Larson.
And that's the difference on those laps, right? He didn't pit. He last pitted on 147, whereas everybody else is 131. That's the difference right there. Still got some goodie in those tires.
And I think he's just found somewhere that works for him on the racetrack. We know that we're going to keep going through these swings as the rubber gets laid down higher and thicker.
You can sell it all you want. That's the first car I've seen drive by that 5.
Well, he's got to fight hard for 4 more laps, trying to get back on the lead lap before the caution waves for the end of stage 2. Side by side again into 1. And Larson emerges ahead of Suarez, who shoves it into turn 3 right alongside again.
Yeah, and you see Ryan Blaney right there at the top side of this screen.
And Kyle Busch fading. Busch is now the last car on the lead lap in the number 8. He and Dillon, his teammate, side by side, and the leader right behind them.
Yeah, and you see both those cars are 23rd and 24th. So
1 lap to go in stage 2.
Boy, Suarez is working hard trying to get around that leader.
Yeah, and not only, the other guy that's rooting for him is right behind him, Riley Herbst. He wants to see Suarez beat him.
Green and white checkered flag. Kyle Larson wins the stage. Daniel Suarez gets back on the lead lap. So mission accomplished for all those drivers that were fighting hard to stay on the tail end of the lead lap as Larson picks up stage 2. In 1969, Richard Petty drove a Ford here. The first race with the 36-degree high banks. He and Cale went out early. That's David Pearson. Pearson climbs out of the car. Richard Petty is his relief driver for 155 laps. Pearson gets back in and goes to victory lane. He beat Bobby Isaac by 3 whole laps. Isaac had relief from Bobby Allison. Third place, Donnie Allison, with relief from Cale Yarborough, was 13 laps behind. Fifth place, Cecil Gordon, was 69 laps behind.
That's why they call him the king.
They called those the good old days. Josh.
Well, for the third time, Kyle Larson has swept the stages here at Bristol. You saw it. He was staying way too loose up top, way too loose on throttle, 4 tires and fuels, an adjustment to help him out, Jamie.
Denny Hamlin, a 4-time winner here at Bristol, says he's really good on the long run. Just needs a little help on that short run, the first 3 to 4 laps. Small air pressure adjustment for the 11. Regan.
Chase Briscoe in the 19 car faded just a little bit at the end of that run. Didn't have enough right rear grip. Still continues to be on the track, on top of the track, and what he described a 4-wheel slide off of the corners. In the 12 of Ryan Blaney, balance is really good for him right now. It's tough for him to keep the rears underneath him on entry, though.
Well, they were side by side coming down pit road from turn number 4.
Blaney's having trouble again. Oh my gosh.
Losing 5 spots on pit road. Well, Larson, I believe, won the race off pit road. We'll wait for NASCAR to determine that. But this is the 3rd time that Kyle Larson has swept the stages at Bristol.
No, they're not.
Welcome back to the Food City 500 at Bristol Motor Speedway. Here's our aerial coverage brought to you by Goodyear. Tried, tested, proven legendary. Looking at Kyle Larson's pit stop.
Yeah, and he's going to have to check up right here for the 47 car coming into his pit stall. It almost cost him the lead, Clint.
Ooh, close as it gets. Tell you what, that Gibbs camp has taken some big swings at him on pit road. They're holding him off so far.
Here are the stage points earned today. Josh Berry had 14 total for the season coming in here. Chase Briscoe had 15, and they both pretty much doubled their total. So Larson, Briscoe on the front row for this restart for stage 3. Hamlin and Gibbs, who had a nice pickup there. Hocevar and Logano, who had the fastest stop of all this time around. Here's the Echo Park restart zone, and we're back to green.
Another great start for Kyle Larson. 19 cars struggling on the bottom of the racetrack.
Noah Gragson 3 wide, both ends of the racetrack. He's done it again in that number 4, and he's making it work. He is passing cars like they're stopped.
Yes, he has. Great restart for Noah.
Restarted 17th. He's up to 11th.
Yeah, and sometimes you just have to be the bravest if you're going to make up ground and take some chances. And Noah is up on the rim. Typically, that's not a great spot to be on the restarts, but today it seems like it's working out for him.
Tries it again on Josh Berry, who moves up to cover the spot alongside Reddick.
Yeah, you know, Clint, the bottom of the racetrack has really rubbered up again like it was yesterday. The top of the racetrack is rubbered up, but not, looks darker right there than what it did in the last shot, as you see Joey Logano try to hold off Ty Gibbs on the bottom.
Yeah, the track's changing big time. I can guarantee you there was some adjustments being made, whether it be air pressure or something. Trying to keep up with this racetrack is definitely changing. Speaking of changing, a lot of positions changing back here.
Well, a lot of bumper tag back here. And 26 cars restarted on the lead lap. And everybody fights for whatever they can get on new tires.
Man, Cindric is having trouble on the bottom of the racetrack, finally moving up, but not taking off very well at all for the 2 car.
Yeah, and you see Ross Chastain has worked himself all the way back to this group after such a great qualifying effort, has really struggled to do anything during this race today.
Logano outside Hocevar. This is going to be for 5th place. And behind him, Ryan Blaney, who had the worst pit stop of the contenders. Larry?
Yeah, Mike, in 8 races, which includes today, Ryan Blaney has lost a combined total of 86 spots on pit road. That's 30 more than anybody else. It took him 54 laps in stage 2 to overcome that issue at the end of stage 1.
Tell you what, there's reason that Joey Logano is racing him so hard. Watch this. Boom.
Oh.
Look out.
Yeah, I think, well, there's a couple things that happened. I think that Hocevar was like, well, we moved down and you pretty much moved down and stopped right here, so I'm gonna feed the bumper to you. And Logano's like, well, I see an opening right here and I'm gonna move down.
I agree with you, and I think that speaks volumes about Hocevar, right? He didn't back down from that 3-time champion, but that Logano ain't gonna back down from him either.
So where does that fall on the scale of frustrating to fun to drive in a situation like that, where you guys are, you know, playing bumper tag?
Well, I think it's also 2 different generations right there, right? So Logano has raced through a whole different period, and I think a lot of what happens today, you expect to get run into. I watch Keelan race and the legend cars and all the different things. All these kids have been brought up to bang bumpers, and it doesn't even really bother them. So
I tell you what, pretty good day so far for the OJGR group, but that 4th one, where's he at? Had trouble, hit the wall, and he's been back in the wall again too, guys. The 20, Bell.
Yeah, Christopher Bell, he was 4 laps down, now 3.
He just smoked the wall again. Here it is.
Man,
boom.
Car did the same thing in a different spot that car did earlier. Just stepped out on him all of a sudden with that snap loose. That is not fun, Clint, when those things are snapping like that. trying to catch him is nearly impossible in these Gen 7 cars.
Well, he's limping around on a wounded car. I mean, what? Speeding on pit road. Don't beat yourself. You tell me that every single week. And without that, he'd be right up there challenging for a win with his teammates.
Top 15 battle here. Chase Elliott in 14th, under fire from Brad Keselowski and Todd Gilliland.
Yeah, and it seems like that 6 car, he needs the really long runs to be able to take advantage of the handling that he has. As we see Ty Gibbs right here caught Ryan Blaney, or Ryan Blaney has caught Ty Gibbs and just gone around him.
That'll move Blaney up to 4th.
See Chase Elliott able to hold his position right there with Brad using that top lane. And as that top lane gets more and more rubbered in and starts to go higher and higher up the racetrack, it'll make it that much more difficult as the bottom lane starts to lose more and more grip throughout the day because of the speed that top lane will have.
But now, instead of showing you a car commercial, Toyota's going to use this time to stay here right on track in Bristol. We're going to go Toyota all out. Denny Hamlin's worked his way up to 2nd spot. He's 0.6 of a second behind Kyle Larson, but at this moment, he's 1/10 of a second quicker per lap than the leader.
Yeah, well, Denny has been quiet today, but right now runs in 2nd position. It wouldn't surprise me as everything starts to flip around with this racetrack if we don't see Hamlin start to make up a little bit of ground on Larson with the adjustments, and never know on pit road, Jamie.
Yeah, and Denny Hamlin running 2nd right now. When I talked to Chris Gale, his crew chief, this morning, he told me they weren't sure the direction they were going to need to go with the changes coming in here. So they relied on Bubba Wallace. That's Denny Hamlin's driver for 2311. He did the tire test here in November, and although the temperatures were totally different, it gave them a direction for setup. Now, he also told me we are skeptical about what we have today. We don't know if it's going to be good. Well, as you guys can see, they have figured it out, and they've made great strides throughout this race.
That he has. Now, he's lost a couple of tenths here. He's 1 behind the leader right now. Ty Gibbs just took over 4th place from Chase Briscoe. Regan?
Well, Mike, Ty Gibbs has been doing a very nice job most of the day here. After losing that track position early on, has worked his way back forward. I want to go to something he said before the last pit stop, though, about his car. About 120 laps on those tires, not of all which were green. He said at the end, my car was completely out of control and lost all grip at the end of that run. Now, mind you, this next run, they may have to go just a little bit further than that. It's not that the right rears are wearing out, it's that they are heating up too much today, and that's what's making it so slippery for so many of these guys.
Ty Gibbs just ran his fastest lap of the race here a lap and a half ago. Chase Briscoe has been up as high as 3rd, but just in the last half dozen or so laps gave up 2 spots, one to his teammate Gibbs.
Having a solid weekend, and finally, Kevin, right, getting the stage points, taking care of business with this 19 car. This is what we expect out of Chase Briscoe.
Well, Chase Briscoe and his team, I mean, they were a car to beat week in and week out last year, and they've just had a lot of terrible things happening throughout the first part of this season, but running good again today.
Tyler Reddick has fought hard. He restarted 10th. He's moved up to 8th, been in a bunch of battles, and for the most part has been up at the top of the racetrack, as you'd expect.
Well, as you would expect, and I think Tyler Reddick is driving with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder because of that miscommunication on what the pit road speed needed to be at the beginning of this race. But they've done a nice job of putting themselves back in a position. We talk about Tyler Reddick and his short track program needing to get better, and today it looks like they've made a step in the right direction from a performance standpoint.
And that was Toyota all out. 291 laps complete, 209 to go. Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin combined have won 6 of the last 10 races here, 3 apiece, and they finished 1-2 here last April.
Yeah, you see Ty Gibbs right now going around the outside of Denny Hamlin, and Clint, I've noticed some 15-second laps start to pop back up on the board the last few laps, and you mentioned Ty Gibbs with his 15:90 fast lap, but This 54 car is rolling right now.
He's rolling, and Blaney's rolling. I think Blaney's going to have something to say about Larson's win today if they can keep it together in the pits. Gibbs is extremely fast. He is going to get a win. I wasn't on board with that in the offseason when you popped off and said that, but I'm on board with you, buddy. Ty Gibbs will be in victory lane this year.
And I think today's a great example of why they will be in victory lane. You saw him at the beginning of the race. He had a bad start to the race, got themselves kind of shuffled back once again on one of those restarts earlier on. But we weren't playing any of the radio on here with, a screaming and yelling or anything. It was just like, well, it is what it is. And look through the windshield as his crew chief, Tyler Allen, has been preaching to him. And they've kept it together and made adjustments on the car and done the things that they need to do and running third with a chance to win this race with 200 laps to go.
He's doing a nice job with the throttle. He eases into it. He's not playing with it. He just steadily gets wide open.
Well, Kyle Larson has now become the 9th driver to lead 2,000+ laps at Bristol. Here's his radio.
Blaney, we're in clean-ish air. Typically, he was rolling the bottom lower and faster, but we were finishing the corner better, and that would net out for a very similar lap time. I know that's similar to what you've seen, from your seat, keep moving around. His car just chases the bottom a little bit better than ours, but you were still able to finish the corner well.
My gosh, I mean, absolute dominant. It's so reminiscent of yesterday, Kevin, and that O'Reilly race. Didn't get the job done, led a lot of laps. You got to be thinking, if you're him and this race team, getting down to the end of this thing, where's this left hook going to come from, and when do we have to dodge and avoid it?
Yeah, and I think the best thing for him right now is, if Ryan Blaney can stay in between him, it gives him if we have to pit again, it gives him a spot in between the two to give a little more breathing room for his pit crew. And for Blaney, it's like, man, I know I have a fast car, but I'm going to have to pit again.
Well, in the first stage, it took Blaney, he had to overcome, and it took him 54 laps to get back to second. This time, it took him 35 laps to go from 7th to 2nd after a bad pit stop.
Well, he's got arguably the best car on the racetrack, but they just keep putting themselves in spots to where they lose all that track position, and I hate that we have to keep harping on it, but they're facts, Clint.
He's finished top 6, Blaney that is, in the last 3 Bristol races. He was 4th here last September, never had a win here, not yet. Hamlin falling back into the clutches of Hocevar here, who's been half a tenth quicker every one of the last few laps.
And it looks like that car is becoming a little bit freer for Denny Hamlin. We talked about his handling issues a few minutes ago, but you can definitely start to see the back of that car moving around on the 11.
And that's something that I don't remember seeing last year at this racetrack. I think the new package, the less downforce, the more horsepower is bringing that out, and that's the design of it. That's what we wanted to see.
Top 10 battle here. Ryan Preece taking on Bubba Wallace, and here comes the boss, Brad Kay, Preece's boss that is, steaming around the outside.
Yeah, and
this is all right. I hate to say this, but that 66 car being on this racetrack is the best thing that you want. And the reason I say that is if you time it right, that's an opportunity to make a pass on somebody. It is a moving chicane out there for every single car out there. I know he's a lot of laps down, but for the racing environment, if you're sitting here watching this race and you're looking to make a pass on somebody, pounce on it when they catch him.
In the middle, clear low, clear low.
Keselowski and Preece now battle for that 10th spot, having passed Bubba Wallace. Kyle Larson out in front by a second on Ryan Blaney. Well, if you leave a pot on the stove long enough full of water and leave the burner turned up, eventually it's going to boil over. And that's what happened between Riley Herbst in the 35 and Kyle Busch in the number 8.
Yeah, and you can see right there the 35 is already into the back bumper of the 8. I'm not sure if the 8 had to check up or if something happened before this, but just a little bit of contact right there, and around goes Kyle Busch. There you go. You see it again right there. Just, it doesn't take much. We've seen how light on their feet these cars are today. And Kyle Busch goes around, and then you see Eric Jones get on the brake, and car goes around on him.
Then you're going to see
Michael McDowell.
Bell hit the wall again. Boy, he's ready for this race to be over.
Let's watch from the Advent Health Cam on board Eric Jones.
Yeah, and he had to get on the brake really quick. And a lot of times in these cars, when you get on the brake like that, see the frustration right there from Eric Jones.
All right, pits are open. Josh.
Well, Kyle Larson has now led over 260 laps. The same problem during this run as the last one. Just got too loose towards the end of that one, so they're going to make an air pressure adjustment in addition to those tires and fuel. Jamie?
Not a lot of chatter on the radio from Denny Hamlin, who comes in and pits from 4. It's just too loose to run the top. Fill them up there and put 4 tires on. Around to the front again to Regan.
54 Ty Gibbs continuing this impressive run today. Right now, this last run just a little bit too free for him throughout the entire time. Asked for him to tighten him up just a little bit. In the 12 car, Ryan Blaney, we've documented the issues on pit road for him. We have to see if they can give him a good stop here. As for the car, the adjustments last time were very good on that 12 car. Best it's been on entry all day long.
Larson and Gibbs are going to lead them off pit road with Hamlin and then Blaney.
Gibbs beat Blaney out, and Hamlin beat Blaney out. Another 2 spots lost.
Under caution as Kyle Busch gets turned by Riley Herbst.
Sometimes at Goodwood, they like to race hard. This is a video that Parker reposted. He said, Pro Motorsports spends billions of dollars over the last 50 years on safety and advancements. Vintage Racing at Goodwood says that's cute. The worst part is you can see it coming. You're just like, oh, this is not going to be
I wasn't expecting him to get whipped out of the car, though.
No, they don't have to. They don't have seatbelts.
I understand now.
We'll join Kevin every Tuesday and Thursday. Kevin Harvick's Happy Hour. Vintage racing is supposed to be fun. There, no trophies for finishing positions. You go out there, you have fun, you pass cars, they pass you, everybody has a good time. That didn't look like a good time.
You're not supposed to pass your own car, though. That guy got launched.
That's true.
Oh, man.
Guess our crew chief would tell us probably shouldn't hit the tires, huh?
Well, there's a comparison of Blaney and Gibbs on pit road. Ugh. Ugh. And that's why Ty Gibbs is second right now, and Ryan Blaney is fourth behind Gibbs and Hamlin.
Man, what a difference, Kevin.
And well, that's just going to be the story of the rest of this race. We've seen the racetrack change every time we bring this up. Now the top is starting to get as black as the bottom. See the middle all cleaned up where they've all been riding around under caution.
We got a really racy racetrack right now. Look at the buildup in the middle, though.
All right, this was the 6th caution flag. Ricky Stenhouse, safety violation. He will restart at the back. 25 lead lap cars as we get set for the restart, finishing up the 6th caution of the day. Hamlin inside of Larson. Gibbs second in the outside. Blaney on the inside.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin did a really good job in that bottom lane. At best we've seen anybody fire off on the bottom so far.
Shane Van Gisbergen back in the race after lengthy repair.
And what I would consider a mad driver in that 12 car up on the outside right now.
Whoa, careful.
Contact.
Yes.
Run out of room.
Well, he just had such a massive run on Denny Hamlin. I don't think that he expected him to catch him that fast.
All right, here we go, baby. Now he's back to second. That was as fast of a recovery as we've seen out of him.
Whoa, squeeze. 3 wide coming off turn 2. And Hamlin got shot out of the middle.
In trouble.
Logano and Gibbs going at it for third. Joey making that high groove work. Gets the momentum off the corner.
Yeah, and it seems
Gibbs
like
to 3.
And it seems like that 22 car fires off really good on these restarts and then fades at the end of the run. But I think the interesting thing right here, Larry, is can we make it on gas?
It's right there on the threshold. Remember, the fuel window is maybe around 170. We went back racing with 180. It's right there, Kevin.
Well, let me ask you this, crew chief. We see all these fast pit stops. Did they put all the gas in them?
We've known them not to, and especially at a place like this with some of the rear downforce gone, not filling it up, keeping nose weight in.
Oh, boy.
Oh. So that wasn't much of an answer, Larry. Can we make it?
We can make it if we're full.
Okay, I like that one. Well, about 5 miles per gallon on this Sunoco race fuel with 0 carbon bioethanol, and they've got what they've got.
Well, I can tell you what, that 12's got some anger and a fast race car. Put some pressure on Larson, the leader.
Well, and look, if the caution comes out again, his best defense is to
Debbie, stay off of that.
is to be leading this race. Right?
You're exactly right.
As far forward as you can get.
That's a great point.
Speaking of forward, Tyler Reddick just made it up into the top half dozen. Well, he and Chase Briscoe fighting now for that 6th spot, but Reddick just keeps creeping up there.
And that's important, Mike.
Yes.
Look, his boss said it to me and during the interview that we did with him earlier in the year. Tyler Reddick, if he's going to win a championship, he's got to get better on short tracks. And Tyler Reddick knows that himself. Talked about it after a couple of his wins that we got to do good at Martinsville. We got to do good at Bristol. We just be better on the short tracks. And today, even with the penalty that they had, this is a big step, in my opinion, for the performance of Tyler Reddick and this 45 team.
You really can't ask much more of a racetrack than this. It is racy. I mean, they're all over the place, on the bottom, in the middle, on the top. As far as a racing groove surface, that's hard to accomplish anywhere on any racetrack in any weekend. Look at that thing.
And the unique part is the top is completely rubbered in, but you can still make really good time. The leaders are both on the bottom of the racetrack still making their fast times.
Well, I go all the way back to pre-race when you two and Jamie McMurray made your picks, and there are the 3 of them, all right in the top 3 spots.
Yeah, it's kind of like we look like we know what we're talking about sometimes, Clint.
I would agree.
Oh, it looks that way.
Keselowski's going to get squeezed. He's going to be the hot dog in the middle of this bun. Allmendinger on the bottom. Gilliland up top, and they're going to get away clean.
Oh, we're going to get some not happy. Allmendinger back into the rear of the 6 car.
Well,
there we go. Talking about nuclear hot dogs again, Mike. We're done with Martinsville.
Oh, that's right. Keselowski's car isn't quite that red. Logano 2.8 seconds back of the leader.
3/4 behind, huge gap behind.
Yeah, that 12 car, he's put up a couple fast laps, and now
there he goes.
He's back, and he ran a 15.93 the last lap, but he just can't quite get there. Gonna put the back bumper.
Oh, he's gonna move him.
And did.
More contact as they go down the back straightaway.
Now 5's got the preferred groove. Is he going to clear him? I think he is.
I think that 12 car is faster in either lane right now. I think that they've just, as we've seen so many times, a 5 sliding around up off the corner, but that 12, as we get to the end of these races, and we've heard it on the radio from the 5 car and Cliff Daniels, just how well that 12 car will hunt that line through the corners.
Kevin, how easy is it to lead these laps? You've dominated races before yourself and get complacent out there leading. It's hard to tell yourself keep up with this racetrack when they're dominating races. You can't keep an eye on and get a good gauge on Blaney, your competitor here, because he's all over the place on pit road.
Yeah, I would agree. And so many times you don't have to drive the car over the edge. As we see that contact for the lead right here. Ryan Blaney.
Right.
Next Sunday, we're on Fox for the Advent Health 400. From Kansas Speedway, NASCAR Race Day, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. The Advent Health 400, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, and it's on Fox. Larson's last Cup win came at Kansas last May. He is currently second to Ryan Blaney by almost 2 seconds. Blaney just edging away.
Well, at this point, you want to drive as far away as possible. Try to put as many lap cars in between you as you can, in case that caution comes back out, getting to pit road. But Ryan Blaney definitely has the dominant car right now. He's still running. He'll click off some laps in the 15-second category every once in a while when he's in cleaner air.
Only 2 of the 37 starters out of this race, Chad Fincham and Alex Bowman. And still 25 cars on the lead lap. Well, we've now got an honest 2-groove racetrack. Drivers are either way up at the top or right down on the yellow line.
And there's really no middle. Right, middle is no man's land except for the restarts. And the only reason that the middle works on the restart is because they pick up all the rubber.
Ryan Blaney has the fastest lap of the race, and he's had an interesting day. He's been up, and you see there how the slow pit stop dropped him down, and he's recovered on 2 occasions to drive back up toward the front of the field. And now it took him 35 laps to get back up to second place after that, and then into the lead past Kyle Larson. Larson's led more than half the laps, 284. Blaney's been out in front. They've each led 5 times. Blaney now for 70 laps this next time around. Michael McDowell going 1 lap down. That'll leave us 24 lead lap cars. Ricky Stenhouse the last of those. Joey Logano in 4th, Denny Hamlin 5th, working some traffic.
Yeah, and Logano's done a great job this afternoon of what I pointed out earlier was the struggle that he was having. They qualified bad, but as the champions in this sport do, they put themselves in a position by keeping their head in the game and knowing what they had. And you know, he knew he didn't do a good job in qualifying yesterday, and now they put themselves in the top 5 consistently as we've gone through the most of this day.
Logano won here twice with the Gen 6 car, but this would only be his second top 10 in his last 10 starts here.
See Ryan Blaney starting to go through some heavy lap traffic now. Eric Jones, who was involved in that last crash. Ross Chastain.
Look at that car wiggling around.
Qualified 6th and now getting ready to go a lap down, Clint.
We got some Kyle Larson radio on how Blaney was able to catch him.
Remember how the very first run of the race, traffic brought him back to us. Stay in your rhythm, don't change your game at all.
I don't have like any driver tire compared to him.
And that's exactly what Cliff just said, is what I saw as Kevin was talking about. Blaney trying to get around Chastain there for a lapper. He's starting to wiggle around a little bit, and if I'm the leader, I'm starting to think about, all right, let's pace ourselves. We know that I've got a huge lead on the 5 car. Larry just told us, hey, this thing could maybe go the end fuel mileage wise. We could make it clear to the end of this thing, so I need these tires to stay with me as long as I possibly can.
Yeah, and I think as you talk about the 12 of Blaney there, now the problem he has is everybody is on the top of the racetrack, so it takes a little bit longer to make these passes as the back of the race car is starting to come out of the racetrack, and you're using more tire on the bottom of the racetrack, but you are not going to pass them on the top of the racetrack when they start. This top lane is the preferred groove, so he has to work the bottom. Car works really good down there and still running fast laps, but way harder on the right rear tire.
You know, I know Regan Smith showed us earlier a set of tires that came off one of the cars that looked awfully good, but I'm not sure fuel is the issue here. I'm more about on this whole tire deal because these guys have got to go, as I mentioned, 180 laps. The longest green flag run we've had is 82 laps. Now remember, Josh Berry and Chase Elliott did go 115 laps. I think asking 180 laps out of the tires is a lot.
I think it's too much too, Larry. I mean, looking back at the end of that stage 2, there was a lot of guys all over the place.
Sixth place race right here. Tyler Reddick's continuing his march toward the front. Had a chance at Hocevar there. Couldn't close the deal, and Chase Briscoe is now right there.
But you know what, going back to what Clinton and Larry were talking about, if they're full of fuel, if somebody's full of fuel and can't make it to the end and the caution doesn't come out, you know they're trying it.
Absolutely. Follow the leaders. You just follow the leader.
That's right.
Riding along with Chase Briscoe in the 19 car, right behind him as well, looking over there at your board, Priest. Haven't heard anything out of that 60 car all day long in the top 10, holding a pretty wheel. Starting to make some hay when the money's on the line.
But that is so RFK in these days. When you talk about the 3 of those cars, they figure out a way to put themselves in the game by the end of the race. Whoa!
Fourth
See the
place
11
right there.
car squeeze that 22 car up in the fence right there up off the corner. Luckily that didn't result in a wreck. Logano recognized it and backed out of the gas.
And it's brought Hocevar right to them.
Riding along with the leader here, Blaney. Check this out. You want to know how quick things can go right back and de-escalate for you? Look in front of him, Kyle Busch. Watch this, Kevin.
Oh my gosh.
Whoa.
And that's exactly what happened to Kyle Busch earlier, but it resulted in a spin out. That time he was able to save it. So easy to do here.
Right in front of your leader.
But so easy to do, Clint, as you get going through turns 3 and 4 and you're trying to ride that bottom and all of a sudden that car bounces out of the racetrack coming up the banking.
If he'd have overcorrected, that'd have been right in your lap.
Yep.
Kyle had passed Riley Herbst 2 or 3 laps ago. Remember, they got together back at lap 313 and brought out the caution. Passed Herbst, but couldn't hold the position in front of him as he got loose there and dropped back to 26th. 120 laps to go in Bristol. Ryan Blaney out in front of Kyle Larson now by 2.3 seconds.
Zillage.
Connor Zillage has brought out the 7th caution flag of the day with this spin at lap 382. Daniel Suarez will get the free pass. He was the winner in yesterday's race, but here's what happened to the 88.
Yeah, you see him right up against the fence up there, got into the wall, got into the trash, broke the toe link, and around she goes, Clint.
Yep. The Cup rookie had been on and off the lead lap. Got the free pass a couple of times early today.
Oh, well, that looked different from that angle.
Yeah. I'm going to say this. The obvious is this isn't good for your leader, Ryan Blaney, but I think that it is good because I've got plenty of time to gain back anything that I lose if I lose. I don't want to put pressure on that pit crew.
Well,
but I also don't want to pit if I'm Ryan Blaney.
The best thing that happened to Ryan Blaney, and they're going to make up most of the gap getting to pit road, but there's 7 cars in between Ryan Blaney, so he's going to have track position, and he's got a gap.
Takes a lot of pressure off that pit crew.
Yeah, look at that nice buffer that he has there as they roll down the backstretch pit road. Josh.
Well, Kyle Larson said he can't get his car to do what Blaney's car has been able to do out there. Cliff Daniels told him over the radio, what we can do, we can give you an air pressure adjustment, and we can beat him off pit road. Let's see if they can do that here, Jamie.
Denny Hamlin pits from 4th. His pit crew has been outstanding today. Gained him 6 spots on pit road. It's a 4-tire stop here. Pretty happy with the car overall, Regan.
Ty Gibbs was a little bit better on that run, but the team, and a little sketchy on entry with it still, though. Team warned him at the start that they had more fuel load, so that may have been the case. And the 12th car, Ryan Blaney, the balance was good. He was trying to conserve tires, but build a gap all at the same time.
And you see that 12 team rebound right there.
Good job, guys. Good rebound. Showing up when the money's on the line.
Little contact here between Josh Berry and Kyle Larson. We're under caution at Bristol. Next Sunday, it's a big racing doubleheader on Fox. First, the Kansas Cup race. NASCAR race day, 1 p.m. The Cup race at 2 Eastern on Fox, followed by Indy cars at Long Beach at 5:30. It's all on Fox. Racing next Sunday. Brad Keselowski speeding on pit road after the pit stop, and Daniel Suarez the free pass. Well, it's been a day where some drivers have been happy, at least for a little while, but a lot have flipped to the dark side. Dare we play a radio remix? We dare.
Man, I just had a bird right in the window, like exactly where I gotta look out. They say that's good luck. Cub. Shotgun in here, Cub.
10-4, what's wrong with it?
3 o'clock to the right.
Dude, I'm going to get off for dear life. I can't try shit. I know, we got to try something here, Rye. Run the f***ing pump just for me.
Got to be a fun track to race when everything is going just right. And is it the most frustrating track to race when it's not?
Correct.
I love it when the crew chiefs and spotters are like, the drivers saying, hey, this is the worst car I've ever driven. I wish they just run the top. What do you mean just run the top? It won't even drive on the bottom. It makes me so mad.
When it's loose, you're not going to see me on the top.
All right, the sweeper is out there, and there was a truck picking up debris up in turn number 4. Sun is back out here. Aerial coverage brought to you by Goodyear. Legends aren't born, they're proven. 112 laps to go.
Kevin, look at the groove on the racetrack. All the way up to the top. Did you see that?
Yeah.
That was wild.
Well, and that's just the way that it goes here when that bottom runs out, and then all of a sudden those guys start hunting the top of the racetrack. Rubber's up. We've seen a lot of rubber go down on the top of the racetrack, and right now that middle is all cleaned up, but we watched Noah Gragson a couple restarts ago ripped that top, but it wasn't quite as clean.
Now, this is going to get interesting because look at that 34 of Todd Gilliland, who lines up outside of the third row. He is up there because he took on only 2 tires. He was 12th before pit stops.
I think it's going to get interesting with this really hungry race car driver on the inside of the front row, too. Ty Gibbs going for his first win.
It's all going to come down to this restart zone and whether he can get those rear tires hooked up.
He's trying to roll to him a little bit.
Oh, he did. He got a great restart right here. Blaney tried to check him up, and Ty Gibbs didn't go for it.
Here comes Larson, his outside.
Yeah, it's super interesting that guys can make that rubbered up outside lane work so quickly, but Larson made it work right there again.
Gilliland and Logano working the top side.
Josh Berry right there got up into the wall off of turn 2.
Yep.
Berry going to the back.
3 wide top, 3 wide top.
Yeah, and you see some smoke coming out of that right front tire. Not a very good day.
Joey Logano, interesting line. Look at how he drifts way up toward the wall, and that has him really wound up for the run down the back straightaway, and he gains a car length on Gibbs going into 3.
Yeah, and a lot of times as this top lane rubbers up, especially through 1 and 2, I talked about it earlier, with those bumps in the middle of the corner, they'll actually get rubbered up, and you'll drive in a little bit straighter, try to drive up to them. He didn't go as high that time, but he exited a little bit lower, and that gets you below that bump off of turn 2. So you can go below it or above it off the corner, and in the middle you can try to go above that bump. So it just depends on where your car is handling.
Meanwhile, Todd Gilliland is holding his own up there after taking just 2 tires, Regan.
Yeah, and Mike, what a call by crew chief Chris Lawson to do that. Just to update how that car's been for the past little bit. He needed some turn and rear stability earlier on. They managed to work on that, get it to where it was good. The last run, just a little bit free. I got to wonder if he was just a little free, if that helped their decision to try the 2 tires. Keep in mind, he was running in the top 13 there that entire last run. That car started 35th. It's a feat just to keep it on the lead lap early on in the race.
Yeah, he's done a great job holding on to 4th place right now. And with a good gap back to Logano. Hocevar and Hamlin for 6th place with Chase Briscoe with him.
Yeah, we've seen that 11 car, Denny Hamlin, kind of drop back a little bit during this run so far.
Let's go back to Josh Berry right here and what happened to him. Got a little help here, Kevin, getting into the corner on that restart. I think we're going to show it. I think we had a little bit of hiccup there. Oh, here it is. He slipped up, and then he got run over.
Yeah, well,
he didn't slip up much.
Well, you saw I mean, he kind of tried to check up right there and just got into the back bumper of that 21 of Josh Berry.
It's too bad. He had a decent day going.
Yeah, and it's pretty much ended his day.
Yeah, he's going to go a lap down right here to Blaney.
These guys, they're glued together, Mike. They're side by side last several laps.
No give, no take. Chris Buescher down on the inside of Chase Elliott. Cindric right there.
Yeah, you see 12th, 13th, and 14th on the bottom of our screen. Thought that 17 and really all 3 of these cars, I thought they'd have a little bit better day, but we did hear Chase Elliott talk about how out of control his car was yesterday to start practice, and felt like they had made it better, but kind of just an average day right here for all 3 of these guys.
Connor Zilic has made an unscheduled pit stop. He's a lot of laps down in 33rd. Haven't heard much out of Chris Buescher here today, but there he's battling for 12th with Cindric and Elliott.
Yeah, and we heard his teammate Brad Keselowski get a speeding penalty that put him back to 22nd, but Ryan Preece up there in 10th position, but that's pretty typical. These guys, for the most part, all 3 of them tend to overachieve on what their day starts out and what they get for a finish. So Buescher, he's the same way. Denny Hamlin's finally been able to get himself around Carson Hocevar as they go around that 88 car there of Connor Zilich.
Jamie?
Guys, you talked about Joey Logano, but this is exactly the kind of run this team needed. Yes, they had a top 5 last race at Martinsville, but I talked to Joey this morning. They've had 5 finishes, a 15th or worse this year. He said, my focus is just to be solid in the top 5, get some stage points, and see where we go from there. The car overall has been pretty good, just free getting in. Wanted some more rear security on that last stop, so they fixed that with a little air pressure.
Well, Logano in position right now to leave here 12th in the standings. Just 2 behind Keselowski, 2 points behind Keselowski.
Wait.
Ty Gibbs hanging right in there with Kyle Larson. They've been pretty much matching lap times here for the past 10 laps or so, staying at least within sight of Ryan Blaney, within 2 seconds, that is. 89 to go. How will this one sort out? Ryan Blaney leading Kyle Larson by 1.4 seconds. .84 laps to go. Ryan Blaney in front. 1.4 seconds is his lead over Kyle Larson, who last year led 411 laps of this race en route to victory. Today, Larson's been out in front for 284, Blaney for 127, and Chase Elliott led 6 laps.
Yeah, and I think Larson has actually overachieved with his car today. It just that loose handling condition that we saw in practice has kind of carried over from what he's been saying on the radio. But he's just so good at this racetrack, Clint, to be able to manipulate the car, whether it's on the bottom or the top of the racetrack. So good in traffic that kind of covers up for some of the flaws that it has.
And I'm listening to you say that, and I'm seeing loose conditions with this low downforce package we have at this year's race in Bristol, and that points me right into Larson's direction. Guess who else?
Clear high.
Blaney. But to your point, overachieving in the car, I always tend to look at the teammates too and how you're stacking up against your group with Hinderkamp, and you're right, he is overachieving.
Yeah, I mean, you got Chase Elliott in 14th, and Alex Bowman's last, and William Byron's 31st. So,
all right, you're 420 laps into this race. You've been pulling 3 Gs laterally and 3 Gs down into the seat. Now for a whole lot of laps. What hurts first?
Well, I would tell you that my right shoulder would always hurt first because of it's not typically getting as much constant load as it will here at Bristol because of all those G-forces, and you'll squish down, and you'll see it right here with Chase. You're starting to see his head bend as he goes into the corner. It gets straight.
It almost looks like he's looking at the right front.
But
look
at that right shoulder. Whoa, hang on to it there, Chase.
Just buried in the seat, isn't it?
Yeah, your shoulder just gets buried in the seat right there, and as you're doing so much of the turning while that load is at its maximum level, it just winds up right on the ball of your shoulder right there. It winds up being hurt. It winds up hurting by the time the race is over, or mine did.
Oh, boy, man, he's got his hands full.
Regan has more.
Well, Mike, just to add on something that might be hurting some drivers right now, and I can tell you I've had this happen at Bristol. It is not fun. A.J. Allmendinger in the 16 car, his speed have been on fire for the majority of this race, struggling with the heat on the pedals, so much so he's asking for some ice as soon as the race is over for those feet that he's complaining about. Doing a nice job, though, running 13th and moving forward right now.
Yeah, and that is not something that is 100% typical in this car. With the old car, you know, your feet used to get super hot and all the things that would happen down there. You had booties on. It got to the point in this car where I didn't even wear heel booties. So that's a little bit surprising to me that his feet are that hot.
Larry Mack?
Yeah, talking about Kyle Larson in that 5, you know, a little bit off of Ryan Blaney right now in that 12. Kyle running second. We're about 40 laps into this run with close to 70 laps to go. He just told Cliff Daniels, you have not fixed the rear of the car. Now my car is not turning, but one observation, he is using a lot more brake than Blaney and Ty Gibbs.
And Ty Gibbs is right there.
Yeah, the brake pedal at this track is not your friend, and that's one of the things that I was talking about earlier with Larson. He's able to manipulate the car with the pedals, but when you have to use a lot of brake here, it puts a lot of stress on the right rear tire because you got to get the mid-corner speed back up, and then that shoves the back of the car around to the 3/4 mark, and then it wants to snap.
It's loose into the corner, using a lot of brake, trying to keep the thing underneath of you, getting into the corner, having to whoa up the speed. And you can see it wag its tail quite a bit throughout the corner, starting with the entrance.
I love the telemetry here. At no point in the lap are these drivers hardly at all going less than 100 miles an hour.
You know, one of the things is you asked about, you know, what hurts, and you get crampy, believe it or not. As you start to get dehydrated and running out there, you start to kind of cramp up. And for me, that's the most uncomfortable feeling, really, is just needing to stretch and get out and move around a little bit.
Now, Kevin, you talked about your shoulder. Denny Hamlin decided to forego shoulder surgery in the off season. He injured his shoulder. He says, nope. He says, I'm not going to have time to get it repaired and get it healed before Daytona. I'm just going to race this season and then attend to it. This must be an especially tough day for him.
Yeah, I mean, it can definitely, it can expose those types of problems in ways that they hadn't been exposed before. So, you know, I think Denny does a good job in taking care of himself. But the other thing here too is just trying to make yourself not grip the steering wheel, not hold on. I was really finicky about when my gloves would start to sweat and how they would grip the steering wheel, and work with Max Pappas a lot on what type of steering wheel I needed, what type of grip I needed on my gloves.
Ooh.
Ty Gibbs getting loose right there, but you don't realize the grip that you need on the steering wheel to keep yourself relaxed and not get tired and those cramps in your forearms and hands.
Tyler Reddick trying to get past Joey Logano, almost didn't quite have him cleared, and Logano gets such a good run off the top of the racetrack. Going to be a hard pass to put away. In fact, Logano may get back by him here. Depends on where Michael McDowell goes, I guess. Maybe Reddick can use him as a pick.
Well, Reddick's done a nice job. Well, both of these guys have done a nice job of whoa, Michael McDowell loose right there. Reddick into the back of him.
Blew his doors off, both sides.
This would have door, corner, bumper, tight, 60 to go here at the line.
But anyway, back to my point, both of these guys have done a great job today. Tyler Reddick overcoming the penalty. Logano getting his car handling and getting the track position that they need to put themselves up in the top 10. Not as good as they were earlier. Both of them up closer to the top 5, but still for the 22, they've been solid most of the day.
60 laps to go coming up around the turn. The NHRA Winter Nationals are next here on FS1. And next Sunday, a racing doubleheader on Fox. The Cup Series is at Kansas at 2 p.m. IndyCar is at Long Beach at 5:30. And you will see it all on Fox. NASCAR and IndyCar next Sunday.
You excited about that, Clint?
I am.
Going back
I was
to
excited
Kansas?
to go back home, but more importantly for NASCAR to go back home to Kansas. That's become really one of our best tracks. Look at Ty Gibbs looking to the outside of Kyle Larson for second.
Got him.
He's certainly got him where he wants him. Nobody in front of them right now as far as lap traffic.
Clear right now. Back inside, very bottom, barely.
Got him.
So Gibbs to second place, 2.5 seconds behind leader Ryan Blaney, coming up on a bunch of traffic.
Yeah, Blaney is in heavy traffic right here.
Look at this.
You see him 3 wide, going through the middle of that corner now on the inside of Austin Dillon.
And this is where you keep an eye on this right here.
Austin Dillon trying to stay on the lead lap. Just ahead his teammate Kyle Busch, 2 down.
The way Blaney's car turns that bottom, it's enabling him to just pick through these lappers at will, and that's going to be a huge benefactor, keeping those guys from being able to capitalize on catching him in lap traffic.
Last race winner Chase Elliott may go a lap down right here.
Yeah, I was thinking this earlier when I saw Connor Zillage, yesterday's winner in the O'Reilly Series, up against the wall and on pit road and laps down, and thinking about the start of his Cup season and what a struggle it's been for him. Now we see Chase Elliott, winner from Martinsville, come to Bristol a lap down. It just does not take much for you to be off, and especially here at Bristol.
Sure doesn't. How about Todd Gilliland? He is still holding on to 4th place, and he's been holding off Carson Hocevar here for a few laps. That 2-tire call has turned out to be a great one. Now, Todd's never finished top 5 on a short track in a Cup race. Today just might be the day.
Old tires just aren't really wearing out.
Well, it's like we talked at the beginning of the race. They were just. There were 2 cars, Chase Elliott and can't remember the other right now, or Josh Berry, that stayed out and didn't take tires and were able to keep themselves up in the front of the pack, and that really allowed a decision like they made with this 34 car and Todd Gilliland to be able to take that chance, and it's paying off for him big time.
Yeah, great run for the 3rd generation driver. All right, Blaney underneath his teammate Austin Cindric. The 17th place car now draws a bead on Brad Keselowski. Larson now 3.5 seconds back in 3rd. Little squeeze play there.
Yeah, you saw the 35 car get into the door of the 47 and kind of bounce back to the left, and then Larson got into his left rear. So you'll see these cars, the 35 and 47, make contact. Just kind of the way it goes here at Bristol. No harm, no foul right there.
Well, Ryan Blaney had a 3.2 second lead before getting into the traffic, his largest of the day. Currently, Larry, he's 1.3 seconds up on Ty Gibbs. That is shrinking a bit, and this just happened.
Oh, big moment, Clint.
And that cut Blaney's lead from almost 2 seconds in half.
Well, think about this, guys. When this car qualified yesterday, and you opened the show with this, Mike, his first lap as we go on board with Ryan Blaney. Oh, man. That is all but wrecked. But the thing that you talked about, his first qualifying lap, sideways. Made it work the second lap. Clint, you talked about the back of that car moving around and him starting to struggle with it, and then bam. That moment happens right there.
Well, Larry, that moment almost made my trends come to fruition. But I have called an audible. I'm not going to tell you about Bristol trends. I looked at the first 7 races of 2026, Daytona to Martinsville. We've had 1 overtime. That was at Echo Park Speedway in Atlanta. But the average of the last caution, 39 laps to go, that would be lap 461 here at Bristol today, which is about 2 laps from now.
2 laps from now. Okay.
I like your trends, but I like what I'm seeing out of Gibbs. Here's your opportunity, kid. Go to the whip. Run him down.
Yeah, he lost a half a second on
blood in the water
on the previous lap, and now he's having to go through that traffic that the 12 car Ryan Blaney is still only a 1.5 seconds back right here. As you see, Blaney right up in front of him, stuck behind Daniel Suarez.
Same 2 cars that gave him fits when he almost wrecked.
Now listen to how much Ty Gibbs is out of the throttle on the entry right now.
Leave it now to Larson, everything front.
This is all about managing traffic as efficient as you can be.
Yeah, and right now the trick is lose as little time as possible, right? Like when you get to a lap car, if you can get to him just a couple tenths better than Ryan Blaney gets to him, then you're going to make up ground. But Blaney's struggling up there in front of him, Clint. You can see he's the next car on the bottom of the racetrack. So Ryan Blaney is not having success getting through that group of cars.
Ryan Blaney has not won a Cup race at Bristol on 2 occasions. He's been leading and got into trouble.
We're lapping up to 14th place, and those positions are racing for a really, really valid conversation. Right, they're battling hard for position. Those lappers are extremely hard to lap.
How about the second place car, Regan?
Well, Mike, just to add on what Ty Gibbs is doing right now, since the start of this run, crew chief Tyler Allen and spotter Tony Hirschman have been wearing out the radio buttons, telling him, run your race, run your pace, manage your tires. This is still going to be a long run, and he's been doing a very nice job of that. We'll have to see if it was enough to be able to catch that 12 car.
He's got 34 laps to do it.
Not what he wanted to see there.
No.
That's going to hold him up. Timing is everything when you're catching these lappers at this place.
Hocevar 4th, working traffic. Briscoe in 5th.
Yeah, Briscoe, he's been super quiet today. He's been in the top 5 and right around it all day, but hasn't done anything spectacular. Just done what he needed to do to keep that track position, have solid restarts, and not make any mistakes.
Yeah, he's been as high as 2nd in this race. He's not been one of its 3 leaders, but a good solid day for the 19 crew. Ty Gibbs, Carson Hocevar in that top 5, both gunning for their first career win. Well, as is Todd Gilliland. I wouldn't call him a favorite, but I wouldn't count anybody out right now.
No, and you see Denny Hamlin on the inside right there, and I think Todd, he's starting to fade just a little bit with those 2 tires, but in the end, I still think this is going to work out to be a way better finish for them than what they would have had if they didn't make that call.
Tyler Reddick comes into the picture in the 45, trying to improve on 8th place here.
His average running position today has been 19th, and here he is inside the top 10 because of that call.
Wow.
Hey, the leader just got held up big time behind Keselowski. Watch this. Look at this. He's catching him quick right here.
Yeah, Blaney, big slip slide there in the last corner.
And there you see 2nd place up at the top of the screen. Shut the door on your leader, Blaney. Held him up. That was a lot of time lost.
Yeah, it seems like that Blaney's car has to be absolutely perfect with what he has to do with the throttle and the things to keep the back from snapping out from underneath it. Makes it turn really well, but if he doesn't get it perfect, that back snaps out from underneath it.
And I've been watching him for about the last 10 laps since we saw that slip up down in 1. He's made an adjustment, Kevin, and moved up to the outside of the racetrack. Doesn't trust that bottom anymore. I think he's made some hay, finding some lap time again. That's a 16:21 to a 36 that Gibbs behind him.
Yeah,
right, Brad Keselowski just went a lap down. He is one of, I think, just 4 drivers to have finished on the lead lap in every race this year. He's just gone 1 down.
How special would it be for that man to see that grandbaby park it in victory lane?
Turn 2, around goes Chase Elliott.
Rolling, hold your line, hold your line.
And Larry, that changes everything.
Yes, it does, Mike, because we basically have almost 90 laps on these tires right here. We only have 13 drivers on the lead lap. I think you're going to see it all over the place.
Keselowski will get the free pass, I believe. He was the first car 1 lap down at the moment of caution. And no contact, just a looping, lazy spin for the number 9.
See him at the top of your screen right at the Sunoco sign.
Same thing we've seen.
Round she comes.
Those cars just get over those bumps right there in the middle of that corner and lack of grip.
Never quit driving it.
Nope.
He stood on the gas, perfect 360, 100-mile-an-hour slide.
He was 17th, one lap down.
Well, this is going to get interesting, guys, because I think, to Larry's point, I think you're going to see 2 tires. You're going to have guys that
what do you do with this car, Kevin?
Well, I think is all over the place. That was a long way to run.
All right, now here's the radio of Ty Gibbs.
I don't want to give up track position at all. I feel you. That's what I was thinking too.
Does that mean you don't want to give it up in the pits, or are you staying out?
All right, now there's only 13 lead lap cars.
If I'm one of those cars up front like Ty Gibbs, I'm probably going to stay out because we are not going to have that many laps to go, and I think that's what Ty's thinking.
Well, look what we've seen all day. 21, Josh Berry, Gilliland.
But Larry, the counter to that is there's not that many
Your leader pitted.
cars.
Your leader
so
pitted.
If you get tires, you might have time to get back up to the front. Josh.
For Kyle Larson, the decision was to come in here and get tires as they come into the pit stall. The decision is to call for 2 or 4 tires. We're taking a look at that one. Send it to Regan.
Ryan Blaney making his way around turns 3 and 4, all the way down to that very first pit stall where he's pitted. He was freer that last run on fire off, told the team that, and the question was, do you want to do code word number 7? He said yes, so obviously number 7 was to pit. We'll have to see if it's 2 or 4 tires, but very lonely feeling on pit road with not many cars behind him.
Only 8 of the 13 lead lap cars stopped. Kyle Larson's going to be first off pit road, so he will be 6th in the running order because Ty Gibbs stayed out. So did Hocevar, Briscoe, Hamlin, and Reddick. Hocevar Chevy and 4 Toyotas stayed out.
I think Larson beat him out of the pits. Talking about Blaney.
Yes, he did.
Blaney lost several positions there.
So 5 cars stayed out, correct?
Correct.
Oh, what do you think, Kevin?
Well, I think that's the best case scenario for Ty Gibbs and his lead is to get through that first lap, to be able to hold them off on the clean racetrack on the restart. So that's where those new tires really come into play.
Track trucks out doing a bit of sweep up on the marbles.
5 car took 2 tires. That's one reason Blaney lost a position to him.
Well, who do you want to be? The fellows with the track position up front or the fellows with the new tires about 4 rows back?
I want to be this kid sitting in that 54 car. I told him on pre-race there, Kevin, tell me you're going to win this race today at Bristol. And he said, by golly, I'm going to win it.
Yeah, well, it's all going to come down to this restart right here. If he can fire off and get himself in a position to where he can clear the pack, and I think that the tires will be fine. Larson back there on 2 tires. I think Blaney's going to be coming like a freight train, to the front, and it's all going to see how it cycles out when they fan out in turns 1 and 2.
All right, the 2 drivers up front have never won a Cup race. Do we see a first-time winner here today?
My heart tells me I hope so,
yeah.
But my brain tells me, man, he's gonna have to have a perfect restart, and he's gonna have to run off and hide. But don't forget, you're probably gonna have 15 laps to go here. Quite a bit of racing. Probably might see a caution here. All hell's going to break loose is what I'm trying to tell you, folks.
The last fellow to do it, to be the last first-time winner at Bristol was Kurt Busch. For Jack Roush, recently inducted into the NASCAR Hall of Fame. Well, there's a house divided. And here are the other drivers that got their first career win here at Bristol. Earnhardt, Wallace, Irvin, and Sadler. That's pretty good company, because they all went on to have great careers and multiple wins. Chase Elliott, too fast entering pit road. All right, Kyle Busch comes back in for a chassis adjustment.
As we anticipated, you've got the 5 drivers that stayed out. Larson, Gilliland, and Priest, 2 only. Then you got like Blaney, Logano, Bubba Wallace, Allmendinger, 4 tires. As we anticipated, all over the place.
So is Blaney the first driver with 4, Larry?
That is correct,
Yes.
Mike. Yes.
So he's going to, like you said, come on like gangbusters. Probably going to try to put them 3 wide as fast as he possibly can.
Absolutely.
It just makes it even more interesting. You have no tires, 2 tires, and 4 tires.
But go back to the front row, you know, with Gibbs and it looks like Briscoe here.
Yeah,
Briscoe's going to have the restart of his life on the bottom. We know that's not the preferred line, but get these things cleaned up. You're watching them.
And I think, you know, Hocevar knows that bottom lane, especially on these used tires, is not the place to be. And I think it's really going to come down to how many cars Kyle Larson can pass on the outside. I don't like where Blaney is on the bottom.
That's exactly right. I kind of agree with you there.
If we don't have a big bump and run right here, I will be amazed.
Well, you'll have to. If you're talking about Blaney, it's your only option.
All right, Ty Gibbs up top, Briscoe on the bottom. Hocevar giving Gibbs a push, and we are back to green.
Not a good restart at all on the bottom. Comes Reddick on your outside.
Tyler Reddick, short track program intact, second place.
The race is on.
Hocevar third, Briscoe fourth, Larson fifth. Gives Hocevar a boot going into 1.
Yeah, and I think the thing that Ty Gibbs just doesn't want to see right now is that 5 car get clear any sooner than possible. Tyler Reddick is right there going for the lead on the bottom of the racetrack. I would not give that 45 the top of this racetrack, Clint.
Blaney around the outside of Hocevar and Briscoe to come up to 4th. Side by side for the lead.
They're going to have a hand full of this 5 as soon as they come down into turn 1.
The 5 with 2 tires, the 12 with 4 tires, and they are closing on the lead duo side by side. Where does Larson go? He holds the top. Blaney to the bottom. Coming to 11 to go.
Make that baby wide. Do not slip a tire. Starting to come in on the outside for Gibbs a little bit. It's a good lap right there.
Yeah, and that's the problem with those used tires is the front tires just don't turn like those sticker tires do for a few laps. And as many laps as they had, it looks like the last 2 laps have been pretty good. Still feel like that 12 car is going to have the best advantage on those 4 tires, but it's just going to come down to whether or not he can get by this 5 car.
Larson trying the bottom as Gibbs runs the top. Blaney is there. Blaney goes to the bottom, hunting second place. He's got the 4 new tires, comes off turn 2 even with Larson.
We're going to
sends it.
I was comfortable with the 5, but the 12s run better on the bottom all day long than the 5 has.
Oh, a little bit loose right there for Ryan Blaney off of turn 4. So
he's got the grip though in 1 and 2.
Race door to door, guys. That's what Gibbs wants to see. Stay door to door.
The bottom lane is open for Blaney if he can get there.
Not quite.
So close to being able to clear him right there up off the corner. I think he's going to clear him this time, Clint. I think that puts Ty Gibbs in a bad spot right here. That 12 car is so fast on the bottom of this racetrack.
6 laps to go.
I don't think you dare go down and block him, though. Stay right there in your line. Try to take the exit away from him, just like you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, that's your only defense right here is to try to run the top of the racetrack. That was a great corner.
What a race. Ty Gibbs trying to hold on for his first ever Cup victory.
Oh, Blaney's in trouble. Good scenario for Gibbs. Come on, boy.
Larson almost got into Blaney in that last corner. Larson almost got into the wall in this one.
Yeah, well, he got into the back of that 12 car. I think Blaney just missed a little bit getting in the corner and tried to check up, and Larson hit him.
Hit your marks, kid.
3.5 laps to go. Ty Gibbs has an O'Reilly Series championship.
Got him wrecked up.
And a caution in turn 1. Riley Herbst brings out the yellow, and we'll have to do it all over again.
Well, that is not what...
They don't ever come easy, do they, Kev?
That is not what Ty Gibbs wanted to see right there. I mean,
caution.
The one car that can really make the bottom of the racetrack work is that 12 car of Ryan Blaney. So it's all going to come down to the launch right here and how much distance you can give yourself to the 12 car of Blaney. But good news is he's on used tires now, so he's got hot tires as well.
So, Larry, we're headed for green-white checker. We've got 15 cars on the lead lap.
If I'm in the top 5, I can't hear you. I'm loading my pit equipment. I'm already putting it in a truck.
I'm with you.
Now, those way at the back, why not? Come try to make something happen.
What a run, though. What a race between Ty Gibbs, Ryan Blaney, and Kyle Larson.
Let's go back and see what happened to cause the yellow. I think I've seen these two cars at it before.
Oh, goodness.
Roles reversed here, boys.
Yeah. Now with the payback, that was 185 laps in the making.
Yeah, not the best. I see chances. Gibbs is going to have the preferred line on the outside. You don't want to give him that bottom with the tires. You're right, Kevin. But you're going to have the restart of your life, a jump.
Oh, you have to give him the bottom. You just know that he's going to be as good on the bottom as anybody. So,
all right, Austin Cindric is the free pass. Here is some radio from 4th place, Tyler Reddick.
Not happy with the choice I made there. Gave up the lead. I mean, all good, all good. Still, good day, big picture. That's a hell of a fight, and it's not over. Those guys are all wanting to win pretty bad in front of you, so.
And he got up there. He had a shot to win it. So I think they've had a great day. I know he's hard on himself. Every driver is, but they're going to come out of here with a successful day.
Well, they've run better here today than they ever have.
Yes.
So big improvement for Reddick. And everybody knows that they needed to get better on the short tracks, and they've done that.
Well, what you have to win championships, I mean, Kevin, you know this better than anybody, consistency. And that's what you're seeing with the 45 team. You see the maturity and the communication there. Driver, crew chief, they're believing in each other. I made a mistake. No, you didn't. It's fine. Keep going. Think big picture. Championship caliber all the way, 45 car.
So 3 cars stopped for tires: Keselowski, Suarez, and Hamlin. So in case you missed it, before we go to overtime, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. into Brad Keselowski, lap 62. Lap 145, Christopher Bell in trouble after being up near the front early. Able to continue with damage. Shane Van Gisbergen spun, collected 3 cars, spent a lot of time behind the wall, but got back out there. Lap 478, Chase Elliott goes around. And just now, after Riley Herbst spun Kyle Busch at lap 313, Busch returns the favor on lap 498. This will be the first overtime we've had at Bristol since this race in 2015, when our race leader Ty Gibbs was 12.
This is the excitement you come for. These fans are getting their money's worth right here. The money's on the line. You're going to watch them step up to the plate.
This has been a great battle of strategies and race drivers who refuse to lose. A couple of them that started on the front row, restarted on the front row, looking for their first Cup win. Hocevar currently has dropped back to 7th, but Ty Gibbs is in control. Now, he was last on pit road 95 laps earlier than Ryan Blaney getting those 4 tires.
Well, I think that this right here, you just don't want to play any games, Clint. As soon as I get to the first white line, I'm going, because I think that's your best case. Is that you got to have a car length or so by the time you get to turn 1.
Try to take the bottom from him, I would think, for the first corner, if you can get clear of him.
And I think that you have to be aware of Kyle Larson behind you, because we saw that 54 struggle on the last restart, and we know Larson's going all the way to the top.
And all it takes is one shot out of him, and you'll spin the tires too.
All right, folks, you know the rules. Here we come to overtime, sponsored by Credit One Bank. Gibbs outside of Blaney, and they're even on the restart.
Got to pay attention to that 5 car. Do not let him to your right rear. Great job by Ty Gibbs so far. Just don't need to slip up right here. Coming to the white flag.
3 wide behind him. White flag. 1 lap to go. Gibbs with the launch off the corner. Takes it high into turn 3. Blaney hugs the yellow line on the bottom, side by side.
Got it.
Ty Gibbs is a NASCAR Cup Series winner.
What a great, fantastic finish.
Great job, great job.
Yeah, thank you, boys. Appreciate it.
That one was coming. Came in a good place.
The 23-year-old from Charlotte gets his first Cup win in his 131st start.
Thank you, boys.
He becomes the 46th different driver to win at Bristol Motor Speedway. Last time the number 54 went to victory lane, Lenny Pond at Talladega in 1978.
I bet you there's some tears coming out of that coach down there somewhere.
Well, we saw Ty win so many races in the O'Reilly Series and the ARCA Series, and you knew he was going to have success. It just took a while to get the team right. This is not easy, Clint.
You don't talk about winning races, and I love what you said about Ty. You're right, he has won, but that guy right there ain't many people in life that have won more games and races than that man right there. To watch your grandkid do it, that's pretty darn special. That's a big accomplishment. It really is.
You believe me now, don't you?
Both of Joe Gibbs' sons, JD and Coy, were very involved in this sport, and both have passed on. So it's his grandson Ty who's about to climb out of this car to carry the banner for the Gibbs family. And he's done a great job today. Of all the first-time winners we've seen, this one is really special.
Never forget your first one, do you?
No, you don't.
Thank you, Bob.
And to see his crew chief, Tyler Allen, right there.
He began this year composed, confident, a different Ty Gibbs than finished up last season. He was on a mission, and today, it's mission accomplished. In the midst of it all is Josh Sims.
Well, Ty Gibbs, you've been knocking on the door of this first career Cup Series victory for a while now. But today, you get to say you are a winner in the Cup Series. Describe the emotion.
Yeah, it's awesome. You know, it's awesome what you can do with great people, and to be in this position is great. You know, I would love for my father to see this, but you know, I know he knew it was going to happen and expected it as well. So, yeah, it was a great day for us. My 54 boys didn't give up. Pit crew is just amazing. You know, this is our family. Miller! And it's been great. So, you know, this is such a great deal. You know, very honored to be in this situation. Thank you for Monster Energy. Been with me my whole career. Thank you for Mitch Covington, Dave Gallen, Helton, everybody a part of it that's been, you know, they've been with me since I was a kid. So I really appreciate this. Woo!
Ty, bring me back through the end of that race. You had to hold off Ryan Blaney. You had to hold off a two-time champion and Kyle Larson. What did it take to have the composure to bring this thing home?
Yeah, you know, honestly, I didn't really care if I was going to win or not. I thought the race was awesome. I thought we were all, you know, us all put on the races was great. Kind of, you know, I feel like it's been like us the whole year. So, you know, I really appreciate always, you know, racing Ryan Blaney and Kyle too. Those guys always, you know, run me really well. And we all run really good together and hard. So, you know, hopefully we put a great show on for the fans. I really appreciate it. Thank you for Team 54 and everybody that's a part of this whole deal. What a great day.
Ty Gibbs gets his first career Cup Series victory.
And Coach Gibbs, the owner of the team, and today, grandfather. Coach, you've had a lot of wins in your career and a lot of championships. What is this moment like right now, watching your grandson get his first win?
This is one of my best experiences. Obviously, when Denny won, honoring JD's life was such a huge deal. But I think about Coy. He brought Ty up the entire time. Just wish, I know he's probably watching. And so I just want to thank so many people. It starts with God. He's blessed us and our family, and just really, really can't say enough about all that.
Hey, this is the man right here. I've never seen somebody work so hard in my life. Him and my mom. I come to the shop at 6 a.m. or 7 p.m. or when everybody's there, and they're not there. They're always there. They work their asses off. I really appreciate it. This is a great role model. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him.
It's just a huge deal for all of us. I just appreciate everything so much. I don't know if I'm still on here or not, but I am, yeah. Hey, I want to thank Tyler, Colpern, Grayson, all of our guys on the team. They did so much for this. Everybody back at Joe Gibbs Racing, thank y'all so much for us being able to enjoy this. It's one of the great blessings I've had in life.
All right, Coach, with that mic, send it over to Regan, okay?
Okay, Regan, do something for a change. Do something.